Coach Mike McCarthy could receive a contract offer after this season. It's not crazy at all, according to Jones.
Mike McCarthy has been there, done that. He's got great ideas. So bottom line is that there's no place in my body language or anything else have you seen indications about what we're going to be doing relative to this staff at the end of this year. And we shouldn't.
Jones also said they've got a lot of football left. The next 3 games for 4-7 Dallas, the Giants on Thursday, followed by matchups against the Bengals and Panthers.
Time with family, laughs with friends, and cash back? Discover's got you covered on the last one. That's because Discover doubles all the cash back you've earned on your credit card at the end of your first year with Cash Back Match. See terms at discover.com/creditcard.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
Let's ride!
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. I'm Matt.
You're a loser, Matt!
Hey, shut up, kid. Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
You so. And Mr. Toby Tumpley. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. We got a ton to do. Shay Dixon in 15 minutes from right now. In an hour, we're headed to L.A. Sarah Barshop covers the Rams for ESPN. West and Whit Weeks in studio next hour. Sean Salsbury, hour 3. Lock, loaded, ton to do. Let's go.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
All right, Saints are back on the practice field. We'll double dip here in the opening segment because we do have an explanation from Dave Portnoy himself how the Bryce Underwood flip, exactly how it went down. We'll get to that in just a second. Saints were back on the practice field on Tuesday. Darren Rizzi changing up the week a little bit because it is Thanksgiving. So typically you practice or you have your treatment Monday. Tuesday is an off day. Wednesday is when you begin practice. Rizzi wanted to make sure he gave the guys off for Thanksgiving. So they moved everything up a day. So they did practice today on Tuesday when normally Tuesday would be an off day. But no official injury report because that doesn't come out until Wednesday. So everything on the week for the Saints getting back into the flow against the Rams is just a little jumbled. But what is significant is that both Lucas Patrick and Eric McCoy were absent. Our guy Ross Jackson from LouisianaSports.net out at practice during the media availability. He filed the report. You can get it at LouisianaSports.net. Again, everything always free. But Patrick and McCoy were not at practice. Kendre Miller was at practice, but is working on the side. And then players that returned were Cedric Wilson and Tano Passanio. Remember, Tano's coming off the Achilles injury, so nice to see him back out there. We'll see when he might be able to get back onto the field. Obviously, the biggest story here is Eric McCoy's absence. He's the starting center. We know what happened. Injured week 3 against the Eagles. Had groin surgery. Had been out up until this point. Returned for the previous game before the bye against Cleveland. Went down, re-aggravating that groin, and now not practicing. It really begs the question and makes you wonder, why did you rush him back? I mean, you were a 2-7 football team, and I know this is that hindsight's 20/20. It's easy to say because if he was medically cleared, go. But as at 2-7 at that point, and you're bye a week ahead, why not give him 2 weeks? It's something we talked about then. You were playing with fire, and unfortunately, you got burned. We'll see if McCoy's able to get back to it this week and be ready to go in time for the Rams on Sunday. And a huge part of this game is going to be the Saints' ability to run the football. You know, as bad as the Saints have been at run defense, they're actually 5 spots better defensively against the run than the Rams, who are the fourth worst in the NFL against, or fifth worst in the NFL against the run. So you got to get going on the ground against the Rams. I mean, Saquon just went off for 250 against the Rams on Sunday Night Football. So McCoy and Lucas Patrick both being absent from practice today stinks. And that is certainly the storyline we'll watch as we continue to move through this week. Our show Open Every Day is brought to you by Bud Light. Drink easy with the great taste of Bud Light, the official beer of the LSU Tigers. Hey, wanted to remind you that starting this week is the Mockler Beverage Ride Home program. So make sure you're following Mockler on all the social medias, because they'll give you a code where they'll help pay for your Uber to make sure that you get home safely. If you're going to be drinking during the holidays, don't drive. If you're going to be going to the game on Saturday, don't drive. Drink responsibly. Always have a designated driver. And remember, our friends at Mockler Beverage will be helping with their Safe Ride program. So make sure you're following Mockler on social media, on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook, so you can get that code for the Safe Ride. Will help pay for your Uber to get home to or from wherever you're going this holiday weekend. Drink responsibly with the great taste of Bud Light and our friends over at Mockler Beverage, great community partners. Bud Light, the official beer of AFR, the official beer of the LSU Tigers. Shay Dixon's coming up here right after, in our second segment. We visit with Shay every Tuesday here on After Further Review. We haven't had the chance to talk to Shay yet since the Bryce Underwood flip on Thursday. Excuse me. So we will get Shay's thoughts, but Dave Portnoy, of course, the founder, president, CEO of Barstool or whatever, was on one of the Barstool platforms. And today they've released a video where Dave sort of details Bryce Underwood's flip and how it all came to pass. Give a listen.
You know, I was trending worldwide when it happened, I think all the way up to 9. Everyone's like, oh my God, Dave got Michigan, Bryce Underwood, and it all stemmed from the pick'em.
I don't know what's happening there. One second. Yeah, we lost connection on that feed. Apologies real quick. We'll get it right back. But anyway, let's see if you still have it, Muse. Go ahead.
Michigan football team, right? And they said, hey, there's this donor who wants to talk to you. I said, I'm doing this myself. I don't need to talk to anybody. They said, please. This woman's a big fan of Barstool, big fan of you. She'd love to talk to you. Her name is Jolyn. Like, all right, yeah, listen, I'm working on quarterback. I'm studying the field. What do we got to do? They said, oh, her husband, by the way, is a guy by the name of Larry Ellison. You ever heard of him? I said, Larry Ellison? The number 2 richest guy on the planet? Yeah, I'll take that phone call. That night, we're on a Zoom. Me, Jolyn, Larry Ellison. And we're talking, and I'm like, Larry, where'd you go to school? Oh, Illinois. Well, all right. Jolyn, what about you? Michigan. Interesting. When'd you go to school? I believe she said the guy who didn't wear headsets.
Brady Hoke.
That era. Brady Hoke era. And she said, I never want to live that era again. We're the national champs. I have 2 kids. I can't stomach waking up on a Saturday knowing that we're not the best team on the field. I said, I'm with you. What do we have to do? What do we have to do? I know what we'll do. Let's set up a call tomorrow night with Bryce Underwood and his parents. And we talked and we pitched Bryce. I said, listen, first of all, Barstool and the marketing, but more importantly, Larry Ellison and Jolyn, nobody can match this. This guy's a legend. And we pitched, but oh boy, Michigan's back. And I didn't know how it would come about or the role I would play. But Jolyn, on that first phone call, she's like, I needed somebody to step up from Michigan and show that they cared as much as I did. And then it was like the mega powers uniting.
Okay, that's enough. I don't need any more of that. Then he goes, they're going to do some Barstool stuff with Bryce Underwood. I'll give you 2 takeaways from this. First of all, I'm not mad at Dave Portnoy or Larry Ellison or his wife, Jolyn, who went to Michigan. I wish LSU had that. Just reverse it. What if that was a mega LSU donor booster who you'd be pumped? Okay, so I'm not mad they did that for their school. I wish there was deep-pocketed billionaire boosters like that. What I will absolutely, for the rest of time, push back on is any notion from anyone that this had anything to do with anything other than money. I told y'all last week I was on Crane & Company. My guy David Cohn, who I think the world of, he's a great friend, played football at Michigan. He tried to sell me on Sharon Moore doing a job building the relationship. Did you hear what Portnoy said there? He was on a call with Larry Ellison and his wife, Jolette. The three of them got on a call with Bryce Underwood and his parents. Nobody said a damn word about Sharon Moore. So don't ever let anybody try to convince you this was anything other than money ever. That's all it was. So it sucks for LSU that you spent 3 years and invested those resources into recruiting a guy, and at the 11th hour, a billionaire, the second richest man in the world, swoops in and drops 12 million bones on an 18-year-old. Okay, that's what it is, man. That's just what it is. And I can live with that because, as I've detailed, I think LSU, there's a path for LSU without Bryce Underwood. They'll be fine. But don't ever let anybody try to tell you this was anything other than Larry Ellison, the second richest man in the world, walking in with an open checkbook and getting a deal done for Bryce Underwood. That was it. You don't have to take my word for it. The guy who facilitated the whole thing just told the world. All right, it's after further review. So how does how does LSU keep the 2025 class together? We'll ask Shay Dixon next. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by the Watermark Hotel, the Renaissance Hotel. Another home game for LSU. That means Friday, even though it's Black Friday, Tigers will be at the Renaissance Hotel. Gorgeous spot right there on Bluebonnet in Baton Rouge, near I-10, across from the Mall of Louisiana and across from Perkins Row. An awesome location because of the proximity to I-10. Easy access to everything. But when you go into the Renaissance Hotel, this beautiful sprawling property, elegant and unique. It's got everything you need. Of course, Tallulah, the restaurant inside the Renaissance Hotel, awesome casual upscale dining experience. Check it out. The best $10 hamburger you'll have in your life. I promise. Go try it. It's over at the Renaissance Hotel. Also, enough meeting space for whatever event you have. Wedding reception? Check. Fundraiser? Check. Gala, awards banquet? Check, check. Need to have a place for your entire college football program on a Friday night for a game? The Renaissance Hotel. Right there in Bluebonnet, the Renaissance Hotel.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial properties. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Big shout out, Sunshine. They raised $25,000 for 4-H and FFA with their John Deere Gator giveaway. Of course, they announced the winner this past Saturday with the LSU and Vanderbilt game. And big shout out, the winner was Bill Freeman from Prairieville, who I learned actually was in FFA back in 1975. He bought one ticket. Bought one ticket and won it. Congrats to Bill Freeman. That's awesome. Shay Dixon on 3, the Bengal Tiger. LSU not quite as lucky in the Bryce Underwood sweepstakes as Bill Freeman was. Shay, how are you, man?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing well. Hey, we haven't had a chance to speak since all the Bryce Underwood stuff went down. Now that the dust has settled, any big picture reaction that you have to what went down last Thursday?
Well, I think now that today, after Dave Portnoy at Barstool kind of revealed how everything went down behind the scenes with calls with Larry Ellison, who is the 5th richest man in the world, ahead of Warren Buffett and Bill Gates and folks like that, Larry Ellison's wife was reached out, or UM reached out to Dave Portnoy, Michigan did, and said, we want to link you up with her. They talked. She's a UM grad. She said, hey, look, we can get Larry involved in this. And a man worth what, Matt, worth $230-something billion, ends up saying, all right, I'm in. And Dave Portnoy revealed 24 hours later they were on the phone with Bryce and his parents. And now it's led up to them, as we saw, the flip. The next day, immediately, Bryce has launched nearly $2,000 autographed, signed trading cards. And then Dave Portnoy announces today that Barstool will be releasing merch this week, themed with Underwood and Michigan and everything like that. So
neat.
I think the old your tweet, an offer you can't refuse, it certainly sounds like so. And really, Matt, I mean, look, LSU put out a very, very strong, in the old Les Miles words, a strong offer, right? Or excuse me, the Will Wade terms, the strong ass offer.
Yeah. Les Miles was the damn strong football team. Will Wade had the strong ass offer.
Yeah. Well, this is a combo move of both. LSU said, hey, look, this is a good way above what anyone else on LSU's team would have made. And they weren't ever going to match. You're not going to match that. And even if you do, they're going to go up more. And then that makes you look foolish. And I almost think that when you hear all the details of it, you start to feel better about, I'm kind of, all right, that explains it. LSU wasn't beaten out in recruiting. They didn't get tricked. They just got straight up a top 5 richest man in the world decided to step into his recruitment in the 11th hour.
Yeah.
What are you going to do about it?
Well, that's a good question, though, Shay, is what do they do about it? And there's 2 questions really that I have. What is the immediate path forward? And then the other is, do you avoid recruitments like this in the future when you're setting yourself up for a potential similar situation?
I think then that becomes one of those things where it's situated, like, do not recruit the best players in the country. If the number 1 quarterback and number 1 overall player says, I'm all in, I want in, I'm here. Remember when he did this, it was at a time when Michigan fans were furious. They had no money in the collective. They were doing this, transformative, not transactional, and being very out loud about it. And he was committed to LSU and never even looking at Michigan. And then all of this happens and he looks at them. So you can't really account for that. Now, knowing going forward, don't recruit kids that Michigan's on? Well, the same would go for Miami, Oregon, you could say Texas. But look, LSU's beaten those schools out for guys, and they've lost some guys. So we're kind of just in that era of what's next. You keep recruiting. You try to build your collective. You hope that rev share kind of does something to level the playing field a bit, though NIL will still exist in the rev share era. So they're going to have to get a grip one day on what an influencer and what they're paid is truly worth and market value, and that has no oversight right now. So it's wild, wild west. You know this, but I'm explaining this to anyone who's listening. LSU's got a top 5 class. Now, you aren't coming for free in NIL terms, but LSU also doesn't have the endowment that some of these schools do, and some of these schools here at the end are just saying, all right, well, we'll front load you. We'll give you a ton of money right now. Y'all go do whatever you want with it. When rev share comes, well, then we'll deal with that then. But for now, it is wide open without much regulation and agents involved, and that's why we're seeing, look, Ohio State had a kid decommit today. Bama had multiple decommitments. Ohio State's had multiple decommitments. Georgia, LSU, they're coming after kind of the who's who of teams, and nobody's safe right now.
Let me ask a specific question about quarterback, because Brian Kelly was asked Monday, says they plan to add a quarterback. Where do they go, Shay?
If I were to guess where it ultimately ends up, I'm going to guess transfer portal, right? I mean, Brian Kelly was pretty outspoken about, hey, look, we're going to attack the portal more aggressively than we ever have before. I don't mean Nussmeier, if he comes back, needs to be replaced, but I think it does mean that you can bring true competition to a room. What happens if Nuss gets hurt? I mean, it's just about improving your team at every position, and it seems like that's what they're set to do here. Also, you're a week from signing day. There are not many kids out there who are like, look, when Underwood flipped that same week, like 7 of the top 15 quarterbacks or 20 quarterbacks all flipped schools too. So it almost feels like those dominoes are done now. Teams are starting to kick the tires with North Carolina's quarterback commit, who's a top 10 prospect at the position, and Mac Brown's firing obviously caused some people to wonder, does North Carolina keep their class together? But it's just, for me, it's so late in the game that if you were to ask me which side they end up on, I would guess that it's probably the portal side.
Shay Dixon on 3, the Bengal Tiger. Y'all get him on Twitter, X at Shay Dixon. So, Shay, obviously one of the big questions, concerns that a lot of people here have had, okay, Bryce Underwood leaves. This all happens during the 3-game losing streak. Vibes are bad. Is there a Pied Piper effect with guys leaving this class? Let's talk a little bit about, from Bryce's decommitment, what we know, and let's start with the guys that have reaffirmed to the LSU class. Let's start there.
There's been a lot of them, which is the good news. Look, I mean, stopping that losing streak by beating Vandy, and then no decommitment since Underwood, that followed him right away, and then not one LSU commit of the 25 guys, 26 guys, went to another campus this past weekend. So you've had a number, double-digit, well into it, guys from this class reaffirm their decision. And if you go to the Bengal Tiger, I've written about all of them. But most notably, I would say Texas. Look, last week was pushing to get 5-star Cade Phillips onto campus and was making a big move on the NIL front. At the same time doing that was Zion Williams, LSU's 4-star D-line commitment from Texas. And they wanted them both in for the game. And LSU did what they had to do to get it shut down. And neither of those guys went to the Texas game, and both of them said they're locked in with LSU. And obviously we've seen a lot of Louisiana guys doing it, but Michigan went after Damian Shanklin in the past few days, who is LSU's 4-star, top 150 edge rusher coming out of Indiana, has been one of the top-ranked players up there in the Midwest for a while now. And he told me this morning, look, but I'm sticking with LSU. That's where my relationships are. That's where I feel comfortable with. And that was a big win for him, because right now, when all of a sudden Michigan's collective just got really, 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 really big, they are going for every kid that's out there. And every time I refresh something, Matt, I'm telling you, with a different team, they're saying, one of our top commits just got contacted by Michigan. And that was not something any of us would have predicted 6 months ago.
Go 5-5 after a championship season, or 6-6, I guess, is maybe where they land. And it can motivate a lot of people that want to win. Let's talk about the top of LSU's class remaining. And I think the one everybody's going to be most interested in, Harlem Berry is one of those that reaffirmed. But DJ Pickett is the guy that maybe is causing a little bit of anxiety right now. What's the latest?
Well, the anxiety is nothing more than what everyone knew they were going to be feeling in the end. He picked LSU over Miami and Oregon. Those are two of the biggest. Many feel Dan Lanning has an empty checkbook that Phil Knight just gives him, and Miami obviously has deep pockets when it comes to NIL. So being a Florida kid, that worry was always that, oh man, does Miami come in here at the end and just, it's over? And look, They're pressing. They're doing everything they can, and LSU simultaneously is doing all they can to hold on to them. But, Matt, I don't know if this isn't an accurate description to the 100%, but right now it's almost like 75% of conversations that are going to be had are about NIL. Like, Corey Raymond's job's done now.
Yeah.
The job now you've got to almost do beyond telling a kid, hey, look, why did you commit here? It's because you want to be developed and you wanted to play with me. And that's why you even had interest in LSU, because he started that when he was at Florida recruiting him. And look, LSU's NIL presentation and all that for him is worthy of what a number one corner is. And with Underwood off the board now, you've got a little bit more to move around, and certainly Pickett is an absolute priority for them. And he's a corner, and they know he can start right away. So this is a guy that, yes, perception-wise, Matt, but just reality-wise, they have to have. They got to get him, because he is a guy who can help you for 2 to 3 years, 4 years, whatever it is, and is going to end up being a first-round draft pick, and you're trying to rebuild at corner. So it's just about holding on, and that's one more week of not just old school recruiting, but going through agents and contracts and all these different things that have never existed before now.
Shea, I was told maybe a week and a half ago that there were 3 top priorities to finish the class, and it was Bryce Underwood, DJ Pickett, and Jakeem Stewart. Well, Bryce is off the board. You just mentioned Miami and Oregon are pushing for Pickett, and Stewart's another one that's not going to have any shortage of options, and it's going to take a haul to get him. So here with 8 days before the early signing period, what can you tell us is the latest on Jakeem Stewart?
Oh, I can be the first one to tell you that I don't know. I just from reclassifying, which shortens your kind of span of time that you're able to make a decision, to now being in that crunch time, he's been on a stretch of visits over about a month and a half, I would guess, that included Oregon, USC, LSU, Ohio. He's going back to Ohio State this weekend, and then next week signing day. So, like, that's certainly the group. We saw Michigan re-offer him after Underwood flipped to Michigan. So I think he's getting pulled in a million directions. Obviously, he's going to have a lot thrown at him here at the end, because he did reclassify, and not many D linemen are out there, DTs, to start with, or guys as versatile as him in the D line. He could play a couple of positions. So when one pops up who's uncommitted, everyone's after him. So I've convinced and this is from talking to Steve Wiltfong on the national level. This is talking to the other schools involved who talk to sources around their programs. Everyone's saying, hey, look, our school feels like they can make a case it is them, or they can make a case that they're in 4th place here, that you just don't know right now. And maybe after this Ohio State weekend, I think his is one that Monday, Tuesday of next week, I think we start to hear clarity on, because I bet that's when he's going to really settle into that final decision.
You think he makes a decision on Wednesday?
I do. I think that's what he said the plan was, so I'm going to believe that he will go through with the early signing period, which would be on Wednesday, and then enroll early, which would mean going somewhere in January. So if he's sticking to that plan, we'll know the answer here in a week. And again, for a 2026 kid to move to 2025 and then stretch out, visits, it's a lot to do. So just even from talking to those kind of close to him, I don't think he's got this one nailed down 1,000% just yet.
Shay, there's a couple of other guys that are currently committed we're keeping an eye on. You mentioned Mike Tyler. Derek Meadows is getting a lot of conversation as well as to what he may do. Anything there, the latest with those 2 guys here 8 days out?
Yeah, look, the interesting kind of, I don't know if it's a twist, because this was the plan all from a month out, but Meadows is coming this weekend for a visit. So LSU will be the last team that sits down and talks with him. But we're talking about a kid who's playing out in Las Vegas, is from Michigan, is close with Underwood, has already visited Michigan again. Everyone thought he would go to Notre Dame. He's already visited them again in the past month. And now flirted with Bama a bit, but didn't visit last weekend. But they're definitely kind of in the picture, because Bama's lost some receiver commitments, including 5-star Caleb Cunningham. And then there's LSU, the team he committed to in July, Matt, but never visited since. So it was almost like a foregone conclusion when you started kind of visiting schools back towards close to home of, he'll probably say close to home, totally get it. now we've got a little bit of a wrinkle here of, wait, he's going to come to LSU this final weekend, and do they end up keeping him? And the same with Mike Tyler. Will it surprise me and Mike Tyler's a tight end. He's from Columbia, South Carolina, which is obviously where the Gamecocks play. Would it surprise me if either of those guys flipped? No. I've said that I expected it. But then the wrinkle with Tyler is South Carolina's been red hot for like 2 months. He's gone to a bunch of games. He's taken an official visit there, and he still hasn't flipped. And this isn't a Bryce Underwood #1 player in the country. This is a kid who just lives in that hometown and is now being heavily courted by them. So he's still talking to LSU. Obviously, his parents still are. I mean, they committed for a reason, but I don't know how that one would go. I thought for sure a flip was coming. Now I think we have to at least continue to wait out and watch what happens here because he's still committed to LSU with a week to go.
Shay, what about Solomon Thomas? If we're talking about players potentially to flip into LSU's class, Solomon Thomas, big 5-star offensive lineman. He's committed to Florida State. He visited Florida 2 weeks ago. He was at LSU this past weekend. How did the visit go, and what's the temperature there for Solomon Thomas?
Yeah, that early on, everyone was trying to get, and he's been to campus probably 4 or 5 times, but everyone was on Solomon Thomas, and he committed to FSU. And as everyone continued to push, he was really, really outspoken about, I'm sticking, and they were losing every game. And he was like, I'm sticking, I'm good. Then they fired their O-line coach, and he even said, hey, look, I still love FSU, but Atkins was my recruiter, so I'm going to go take a couple of visits, and those were Florida a week ago, LSU this past weekend. We'll see what he's up to this week, but he is certainly in play. I've always thought he would stick with FSU. If he doesn't, Florida feels pretty good about it just because it's in the Sunshine State. It's not far from home for him. He could still have family around, but we've seen Brad Davis pull off flips late with O-linemen, and every cycle so far, including Weston Davis, a 5-star a year ago, followed by Cohen Eccles, like right before signing day, who will probably be your next starting center. I still just think that I'm a little far out to call that one. I would put the focus on the good news here, which was the reality of what it had to be. The #1 O-lineman in Mississippi is Tyler Miller. He's committed to LSU. The #1 O-lineman in Arkansas is Karius Kern. He's committed to LSU. Both those guys are top 10 interior offensive linemen in the country. Kern's the #2 interior offensive lineman in the country. You got to lock those guys in, and I've talked to both of them. Or I would say I'll talk to Tyler's mom and then Karius' camp. Both of them are locked in. Both said we're good to go. Both said they're signing next week, and both are going to be on campus this weekend. So I think more than anything, people will want to talk about, let's not talk Underwood anymore. Let's hope Pickett doesn't flip, which is kind of where I think the conversation should then go from there. Is you've got a great class. The focus should be on holding on to those guys. And if you're able to do it, Pickett included, obviously, next Wednesday's the day for celebration, even with the gut punch that was Underwood, because they have put together a class that addresses a lot of needs. And because of that, you can go in the portal, know what you need to get. They seem, as Brian Kelly very kind of boldly said, that they've got a plan. They feel very great about it. They're going to be impact players. So the goal is getting more talent on this roster. Getting to next week's signing day by holding on to the big pieces in this class is going to be key.
One quick follow-up, and we'll wrap, Shay. You mentioned Tyler Miller. Last week when we spoke, it kind of sounded like there was a feeling that he may venture back toward one of the Mississippi schools, Ole Miss or Mississippi State. LSU feels solidly now about Miller? Something's changed in the last week?
I don't know if they ever did, and I think that Ole Miss really ramped up their efforts. And look, this is happening with kids in every class, but LSU's got a top 5 class, so guys are going, they're talented. Naturally, teams want to come after them. But I think Ole Miss they don't have a commitment from either of the top offensive linemen in the state, and they went back after Miller, and LSU just buckled in and ended up getting conversations with the family to the point where, hey, look, okay, we're good with the commitment. We're sticking with it. We've stuck with it this long. Let's go ahead and get it across the finish line. So for all the panicking of, is LSU just going to let these teams come in and take everybody? We've seen very clear evidence in the past week, even before and after Underwood, that that's not the case, that teams like Texas and Ole Miss and others have tried. LSU's been right there, and then LSU's won out. So so far, so good. Look, I'm not saying there's not going to be any decommits between now and next Wednesday. In fact, I guess that would shock me if that didn't happen, given that we thought a guy like Meadows or Tyler would stay home, or somebody else obviously could end up in someone's class, or Pickett if, the world comes crashing down on you and you lose him. But they haven't lost anyone yet. And I think that if they continue to just keep pace, they're going to be in a really, really good spot.
Shay Dixon on 3, the Bengal Tiger. Follow him on Twitter at Shay Dixon. All right, man, week out. We appreciate it as always.
Yeah, we'll talk soon.
Thanks, Shay. It's After Further Review, brought to you by South Point Volkswagen, southpointvw.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at southpointvw.com. Sign then drive. 0 down, 0 due at signing. No first month's payment, no security deposit. Sign your name and you're driving away in a brand new vehicle from South Point Volkswagen. Also, the Black Friday deals are going on right now at South Point Volkswagen. End of the month, always the best time to buy. When they got to move inventory, you get the best deal. Couple that with sign and drive. The Black Friday deals going on. If you're in the market for a new vehicle, get by South Point Volkswagen. Or shop them online and then go test drive. Airline just north of Highland or southpointvw.com. South Point Volkswagen, what's your direction? Okay, quick break. We'll go around the SEC. Went long with Shea, but I don't care. We're a week out from signing day. There was a ton to talk about, so we'll move quickly. We'll go around the SEC. And Brent Venables started previewing the LSU game. We'll get to that here in about a dozen minutes. It's AFR.
AFR.
For about a year now, I've been telling you about Action Industries. Great Baton Rouge company servicing the petrochemical and refinery markets in our community. You know, the 30-some-odd plants up and down the river. But what I'm going to start spending more time talking about is the advanced turnaround group over at Action Industries. Same great company, same great leadership, same local presence that they've had for 42 years now. But the advanced turnaround group within Action Industries, they're not just taking any of their workers and throwing them into the turnaround world. This is a completely different pool of resources. These are the same people at Action with workers who are proficient in turnaround work. This is what they do. They are turnaround managers. They are turnaround coordinators. It's the advanced turnaround group inside of Action Industries, a proud partner of LSU Athletics. You can learn more at their website, actionindinc.com. That's Action Industries Incorporated.
At Atmos Energy, our Smart Choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances, smart thermostats, and weatherization upgrades. Together, we're fueling our energy future.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Happy Thanksgiving from our friends over at Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. I know the sugarcane farmers, man, they're out there grinding every day. A lot of people don't know, man, those sugarcane farmers, man, they push through holidays. Seldom get to be a part of Thanksgiving or Christmas. One of my lifelong best friends, Kelly Patrick, his dad was a sugarcane farmer. And Mr. JC, it was a lot of Christmases, man. He wasn't there on Christmas Day. He was out in the field. So big shout out to all the farmers for all that you do, especially during this time of year, during the holidays, from our friends over at Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. West and Whit Weeks in studio, 30 minutes. You'll hear that conversation with the Weeks brothers, as we didn't even talk about it with Shay, but it goes to show you how crazy things are right now in the recruiting world when LSU gets the third Weeks brother, and it was about 10th on the list of things I had to talk about with Shay, so we didn't even get to it. But in any event, we'll talk about it, no doubt, with West and Whit Weeks when they're in studio here in about 30 minutes. All right, it's after further review. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, bringing you the biggest news from the nation's best conference, the Ole Miss Rebels.
Ole Miss wide receiver Trey Harris expected to miss the Egg Bowl. He re-aggravated that groin injury, and the loss to Florida, was unable to return. Lane Kiffin said Harris still weighing his options. Doesn't look like he'll play on Friday.
The Georgia Bulldogs.
Wide receiver Colby Young has rejoined the team for the first time since his October arrest. He's ramping up his involvement in practice. He was suspended back on October the 8th after his arrest for misdemeanor charges of battery and assault on an unborn child, if you remember this awful story. News broke earlier this month that the alleged victim recanted her statement to police and asked for charges to be dismissed. We'll keep you posted. But Young transferred to Georgia from Miami, caught 11 passes in 5 games before his suspension.
The Florida Gators.
4-star running back Byron Lewis flipped his commitment from Florida State to Florida. It's a 4-star running back out of the state of Florida from down in Lauderdale. 5'10", 205, the number 237 overall prospect, the 16th best running back. The Gators now have 19 commits for 2025.
The Tennessee Volunteers.
Vols flipped a running back commit of their own, Dwayne Morris from Southern Cal. He's out of Tennessee. He's a 3-star running back who had been committed to the Trojans since April, now has flipped to the in-state Vols, the number 508 overall prospect, the 41st best running back, 15th best player in Tennessee.
The Arkansas Razorbacks.
And Arkansas got a commitment from one of the top kickers in the country. Scott Starzik is committed to the Hogs. He's actually the top kicker, according to Cole's Kicking. 5'10", 160, he's out of the Woodlands, Texas. Had been committed to Iowa since July, but now has flipped to Arkansas. That's 24 commits for the 2025 class. All right, there you have it. That is Around the SEC. Brought to you by our friends over at Optimize, GeneratorPeople.com, GeneratorPeople.com. Y'all check them out online at GeneratorPeople.com. When you live in Louisiana, it's not a matter of if, but when the power goes out. And when the power goes out, you want to be prepared. Our friends at Optimize can help you do it. So go to GeneratorPeople.com. Of course, you'll always get turnkey installation. You get the price quote guarantee, which is to say the price that they give you when they come for that quote, that's it. There's not going to be extra fees or tax or anything on it. Like the price you see, that's it. And you might say to yourself, Matt, I'd love a generator, but I don't know that I can afford it. Well, at Optimize, they've got a low down payment of just $600, and they have a financing option for any budget so you stay in control of your finances. It's Optimize. GeneratorPeople.com, GeneratorPeople.com, GeneratorPeople.com. Okay, it's After Further Review. We're glad you're hanging out with us here. If you missed the news earlier today around college football, North Carolina announced that they have fired Mack Brown. He will not return next season. However, Mack Brown will coach against NC State on Saturday in the regular season finale. Not determined yet if Mack Brown would coach the Tar Heels in their bowl game. North Carolina is 6-5, so they are bowl eligible, but don't know if Brown would coach the bowl game. He's 73 years old. It was obviously his second stint there at North Carolina. 16 seasons at UNC in Chapel Hill. 113, 78, and 1 during his 2 stints at North Carolina, but Brown probably most remembered for his more than a decade-long run at the University of Texas, where, of course, he did win the 2005 national championship. But Brown will step aside as one of the winningest coaches in college football history. Joe Paterno, Bobby Bowden, Pop Warner, Bear Bryant, Amos Alonzo Stagg, Nick Saban, Brian Kelly, and then Mack Brown, the winningest coaches in college football history. Frank Beamer and Lavelle Edwards followed there. So Mack Brown will head into retirement at 73 years old. Okay, it's After Further Review. We'll knock out our final break here of hour number 1. When we come back, Brent Venables gives an update on a couple of injured Oklahoma Sooners before OU heads to Baton Rouge for the first time in program history. That's next. It's AFR.
AFR.
Love telling you about Duplessis Builders. Love telling you about Derek Duplessis and his story because it's a great story. Local guy, engineering graduate from LSU, was working as an engineer. His sister wanted to build a pool. He said, I think I can do it. Studied, learned it, built a pool. That year he ended up building 8 pools, fell in love with it, went into the business full time. Second year, 60 pools, and now one of the fastest growing pool builders in our community, Duplessis Builders. Y'all go check out their awesome showroom on Airline Highway and Duplessis Lane. Beautiful serendipity in life there. It's on Airline in Gonzales, right next to the brand new Rouse's. Hey, look, you go into the showroom, it's awesome because you'll see, first of all, they have a giant putting green in there, so it's fun to do that. But they also have an indoor spa where you can see all the different tiling, coping, water features. You can pick out your features, your finishes, so you're helping in that design process. It's DuplessisBuilders.net, DuplessisBuilders.net.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
All right, wrapping up hour number 1. We'll head out to L.A. Sarah Barshop will be here next. She covers the Rams for ESPN.com. Of course, the Rams coming off a butt whipping on Sunday Night Football at the hands of the Eagles. Now they got to go on the road to take on the Saints, who are coming off a bye. We'll talk with Sarah here in about 11 minutes from right now. Brent Venables met with reporters on Tuesday to preview the team's trip to LSU. Maybe the biggest question that Brent Venables had to answer is the status of a couple of injured wide receivers, both Deion Burks and Jaleel Farouk. Here is Venables giving an update on Burks.
Yeah, it's still up in the air, and we'll see where he's at. You know, I think he had a history of concussions at Purdue, and so you keep track of all that history. It's a very delicate thing, and but he's as tough as they come.
So Burks suffered a concussion in the loss to Missouri on November the 9th. He did not play this past week against Alabama, and Venables said he'll only play if, I think the way he said is they dot every I and cross every T, so they're not going to rush him back out there if he's not ready. Jaleel Farouk is the other receiver that's injured. He broke his foot in the opener against Temple. He came back for the game 2 weeks ago against Missouri, had a setback, and they're still not sure if he's going to be able to play this week against LSU. Now, that's significant because this is an Oklahoma team that offensively is really bad. I'm not just, you've watched this team at some point this year, I'm certain, but Oklahoma right now, I mean, when you're 11 games in, you kind of are what statistically the numbers say you are. And Oklahoma is 15th in the SEC in scoring offense and 16th in the SEC in total offense. 15th in scoring, 16th in total offense. This is right there with Kentucky, side by side, the 2 worst offenses in the SEC. And I understand that LSU has had their struggles this year defensively, but this is not an Oklahoma offense that should light you up in any way. And I know they had some success running the football against Alabama, particularly in the first half with Jackson Arnold. But this is a team that has been largely unable to throw the football. We've seen LSU the last 2 weeks commit to more of a 4-3 front. That should be something that benefits LSU in this game. Now, we'll keep an eye on what happens there. Just for context, by the way, on Deion Burks. So Deion Burks has 31 receptions on the season. Barshop, their tight end, leads the team with 41. But after that, Burks at 31. The next closest receiver is Brennan Thompson with 19. I mentioned Sharp, the tight end. He's got 320 receiving yards. That's also the most on the team. Like, this is just not a team that is very good offensively. They're not. They've got a very good defensive front seven. They're very physical, as you saw. And Brent Venables is a good head coach, and he did a lot to confuse Jalen Milroe. But it's a different challenge going against Garrett Nussmeier in the LSU offense. As a matter of fact, Venables was asked about Garrett Nussmeier on Tuesday.
What they're doing with him now is different. He's taken a next step. You can see the trust that they have in him, and they're playing to what this team has developed into because of his development and improvement and the group of players that he has around him. You know, you really have seen him. He's completing 63% of his passes and 2-to-1 touchdown to interception, ratio, and he moves around really well. So they're taking advantage of that. They boot him, they roll him out, they dash him, they sprint him, and so he can do a great job keeping his eyes down the field and throws the ball really, really well on the move. And I love his toughness, his guts he plays with. Really, everything goes through him.
That'll be a fun matchup. Brent Venables' defense against Garrett Nussmeier in this LSU passing offense. All right, we're brought to you by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com, lmfj.com. Gents, if you're thinking of popping the question, go where all of Louisiana has gone to get engaged for 3 decades. Go to more than 3 decades. Go to Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. 9 locations in all. Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Lafayette, Shreveport, and online at lmfj.com. Thrill her with a gift in the red box from Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Even if you're not popping the question, tons of great options. Shop them online at Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com. Okay, quick break. We're heading to L.A. Talk Rams with Sarah at Barshop when we come back on AFR.
AFR.
Tuesday means Supper Club is back open. Erica and I were there on Friday, had an awesome time. If you want to go enjoy dinner, you can do it at Supper Club. I tell you, every time I go in, I convince myself that I'm going to try something other than a steak, and I always end up veering back to the steaks. I had the bone-in ribeye from Sagrera Farms on this past Friday over at Supper Club, but you can find your favorite. Erica had some amazing lobster dish. One of our friends who was with us had the Chilean sea bass. No matter which way you go, you're going to have an exceptional night at Supper Club. Hey, look, if you want to go in and you want to get that Japanese omi beef, you want to get that incredible ribeye, you want to get something that's the Wagyu that you can only get at a dozen restaurants in the world, you can do that at Supper Club. But you want to go have an amazing USDA grade A prime steak, you want to have an amazing piece of fish, one of the best meals you'll ever eat in your life, you can do that as well over at Supper Club.
Let's talk turkey. Bayou Ford can get you in a new 2024 Ford F-150 with $15,000 off MSRP. $15,000 off America's favorite F-150 truck. All new Bayou automotive vehicles come with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our #1 product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us online at reliefwindows.com. Oh, by the way, we do shutters too.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Perhaps the end is not near for Coach Mike McCarthy's Cowboys tenure. Regarding the possibility of retaining McCarthy for 2025 and beyond, owner Jerry Jones told 105.3 The Fan he doesn't think that's crazy at all. Noted McCarthy's a Super Bowl winning coach, has great ideas, and they've got a lot of football left. Some advice for Jones from ESPN NFL analyst Dominique Foxworth.
There are a lot of teams that are out of it, that are folding up shop. The Cowboys are still fighting. That's a credit to Mike McCarthy, that he's still in there getting them to show up and fight and win games against teams that I think are probably better than them with a backup quarterback. That's a credit to Mike McCarthy. But Jerry Jones, you can give him confidence, but you got to stop talking, man. Like every week we have to react to you, and that makes it harder for the coach to get his job done.
Giants quarterback Tommy DeVito dealing with a forearm injury will start Thanksgiving Day in Dallas if he's healthy enough to play. If not, backup Drew Lock gets the start. North Carolina football coach Mack Brown will not return next season. That announcement comes one day after Brown said he intended to return in 2025. He'll coach Saturday's regular season finale. No decision yet if he coaches a bowl game.
Guess what? Discover's accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. You heard right, 99%. If you don't think so, maybe it's time to face facts. You're stuck in the past. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report. Learn more at discover.com/credit card.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
Let's rock! Go!
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
And Mr. Toby Tomplake. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Sean Salisbury is here in 1 hour. West and Whit Weeks, LSU, the Brothers Weeks, will be in studio with us in 15 minutes. LSU linebackers, we'll look forward to that conversation as the third Weeks brother, Zach, committed to LSU a day ago. Saints are finally back at it after the bye. They'll take on the Rams, who it's been really a tale of two seasons so far for the Rams. They started 1-4. Then they won 4 of their next 5. But what a walloping at the hands of the Eagles on Sunday Night Football. Sarah Barshop is there for all of it. ESPN NFL Nation reporter covering the Rams joins us now. Sarah, we appreciate it. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Doing fantastic. How big of a setback was Sunday night against the Rams? Or, excuse me, against the Eagles?
I think it showed kind of where the team is, right? Like, they might be competing in this division because it's pretty close. I think every team has 5 losses, or at least 5 losses. But it showed, a really good NFC team in the Eagles. They're not there yet. So a step back, but obviously the conversation in the locker room after game at the podium with Sean McVay was, got to learn from this because clearly they're running out of time to figure out how to be consistent, especially on offense, to be at the point where they are at the same level as some of these elite teams in the NFC.
Let's talk about the inconsistency. When they started 1-4, what went so wrong?
I think it was injuries at the start of the season. Obviously, Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, but then those injuries on the offensive line, Jonah Jackson, Steve Avila, and they never had that consistency just in terms of who was on the field for the offense. So I think that's where it started early in the season.
Was the 4-1 stretch subsequent just a product of the team getting healthy?
I think so. But even in that, you look at that game in Miami or against Miami at home on Monday Night Football, they were inconsistent, and they've scored 2 touchdowns in first quarters this season. So I think it's probably a combination of, yes, they have gotten healthy, but they still have a long way to go, and they really don't have answers because when we ask, why is it inconsistent? The answer is just, well, it's execution. And so they're obviously still figuring out how to fix that.
Saquon went for over 250 on Sunday Night Football. We all saw it. And there's a lot of people here kind of licking their chops a little bit with the Saints having a bye and run game getting going a little bit as the Saints line has gotten healthy. Is the Rams' run defense really that bad?
I don't think so. early in the season, this defense as a whole struggled. It's a very young defense after Aaron Donald retired this offseason. A lot of first and second year guys, especially in the front seven. And then I think they looked a little bit better. And then obviously what Saquon Barkley did is something that I think he hasn't done that to every team they've played, but I think it's very clear that he's a good player. So I think it's probably somewhere in the middle. I don't know that the run defense is a strength of this defense, but I don't think they are what they showed on Sunday against the Eagles.
Sarah, what do you think is the strength of the Rams defense?
I think it is that front seven. Obviously, it didn't show, and we talked to a lot of guys in the locker room after the game. Kobe Turner was saying, we weren't gap sound, made a lot of mistakes. Jared Verse said everyone was kind of trying to make a play, and that's kind of where he put it on him. I don't know how much of that is true, but immediately after the game, he was saying, that was on me. We need to play better, that kind of thing. But I do think the strength is that young front seven. And you look at Jared Verse, Braden Fisk, Kobe Turner, Bobby Brown. They have a lot of talent there. And in the middle of the season, during that winning streak, I think we saw how good they can be.
If you flip it over to the offensive side, Matthew Stafford obviously has been a great player, and I think probably is heading for the Hall of Fame someday. At what level would you say that Matthew Stafford is playing right now relative to his career? He's an aging player, we all understand. He's a great player, but what capacity is he still?
I still think he's very good, and I think a lot of that is just how mentally good he is at this game, at facing defensive. His teammates talk about how his knowledge makes such a big difference for this offense. Just the defense he's seeing, stuff like that, his relationship with Cooper Kupp and the time they've put in together on the field. I think he's still very good. But again, he's been part of the reason this offense has been so inconsistent. Now it takes all 11, which is the thing that is said, time and time and again in the locker room. But you look at him, he's 4 touchdowns and then no touchdowns the next week. And I think part of that is the offense in general. The running game has been inconsistent as well. But I don't think he looks like the Matthew Stafford that came on at the end of last season when they went on that run. But I don't think these issues are because of the way he's played just by himself.
So then, and Sarah Barshop is with us, ESPN NFL Nation reporter, covers the Rams. When the offense has kind of been stuck in the mud, and that's happened a little bit to this team this year, some of it, I'm sure, would be injuries with Nakua and Kupp, like you mentioned. But when the offense has struggled, what has sort of been the impetus for that?
It's when they get behind the sticks, right? Like a first play, loss of yards or a penalty, and then, that's what Matthew Stafford and Sean McVay have said. Well, then it's execution. It's harder to execute when the defense has more of an idea of what's coming. Some of it is the run game has slowed down a little bit. So I think, look, the truth is if they knew the answer, I don't know that they'd be in this position. But I think a lot of it is just getting behind and in the sticks specifically and just having a hard time getting back on track.
The line on this game is 2.5. It's been 3. I think it's bumped down just a little bit. That could indicate you could be talking about a field goal game. Joshua Carty's in his first season with the Rams. If it comes down to a kick, how confident are you he makes it?
I think pretty confident. It's been interesting. You talk about that inconsistency. He missed from 26 2 weeks ago. The week before that, he went 5 for 6. It would have been 6 for 6 if it wasn't for a false start. That pushed them pretty far out of field goal range. After that, the Patriots game, Sean McVay said, he didn't have a lot of confidence in the operation that game. And he said it wasn't just Carty, but in general, that's why he went for it on 4th down on a play. And we asked him about it this past week and said, do you still have confidence? He said yes. But of course, Carty had, again, another miss. So I think he will make it. I think it helps that indoors. But, it's been an interesting season for the rookie kicker.
Hey, Sarah, if Sean McVay has a blueprint to win Sunday in the Dome, what does it look like?
I think it's getting that run game going early, not being in these obvious passing downs, and just being able to show what we've seen at times as this offense keeps going. putting that together and then not turning the ball over. That's been something. There's only been 2 games this year where they have not turned the ball over, and both of them were wins. So obviously takeaways, win games, but I think that's something specifically. Kyron Williams not fumbling, Matthew Stafford not throwing an interception will go a long way for them.
Sarah Barshop, you can get her on Twitter, X at Sarah Barshop, spelled just like it sounds. ESPN NFL Nation reporter covering the Rams. Sarah, we appreciate it. Safe travels to New Orleans. Enjoy the game. We appreciate the time.
Thank you. Have a good one.
You do the very same. It's our pleasure. Sarah Barshop from ESPN. We're brought to you by our friends over at Evermore. I'm a bottle of Evermore right here. Drink Evermore. Go to evermore.com, EVAMOR, evermore.com. You can order online. You can find Evermore at great local retailers. It's a Louisiana product. This is natural artesian water. Thousands of years in the making. A natural artesian well deep beneath the surface right there on the North Shore of Lake Pontchartrain in Louisiana. The bottling plant is right there on the premise where the well is. They pipe the water from the well into the plant, bottle it. It doesn't touch air until you uncap it. It's a better source of hydration. It's a healthier option for yourself or your family. Grab any other bottle of water and look at where it says minerals added for taste. There was one bottle of water. I was at someone's house. They offered me a bottle of water. Sure. Open it. I heard like carbonation. Come on. What are you actually drinking? With Evermore, this is a natural product. Drink Evermore. EVAMOR, evermore.com. All right, West and Whit Weeks. The Brothers Weeks with a third brother. Zach said to be in Baton Rouge next year after committing to LSU on Monday. Got a couple of segments with the Weeks Brothers, courtesy of our friends at Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. In studio with us next on AFR.
After further review.
GLOresources.com. At Glow Resources, they are complete employer solutions. Heading toward 2025, if your business is going to be hiring in 2025, maybe you need new hires in 2025 because people you currently have working for you lack efficiency. They don't get the job done. You need Glow Resources. At Glow, they recruit nationwide. For example, there's a Baton Rouge company that was looking for an engineer. Glow found that employee in Florida to do the work in California. There's a man working in Amarillo, Texas, who now is working as a plant manager in Mississippi, was able to buy his first home, put his kids in private school, changing people's lives and helping your business become more efficient. Hiring the right employee saves you time and money. I think we all understand that if you're in a management position or if you're a business owner. Let Glow Resources help. Check them out online at glowresources.com.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram can get you in a new 2025 Ram 1500 truck with $15,000 off MSRP. $15,000 off the newly designed Ram 1500 truck. All new Bayou Automotive vehicles come with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Wall-to-wall TVs mean you'll see every touchdown in HD. Place your bets and feel the thrill of every play with our DraftKings Sportsbook. The Queen Casino, where every moment is a win.
Join us at Pro Dreams in Mandeville for our special event, A Day of Champions. Meet LSU National Championship winning head coaches Jay Johnson, Skip Bertman, and Paul Maneri. Don't miss your chance to purchase authentic sports memorabilia, autographed by the champions themselves. It's the perfect opportunity to celebrate LSU baseball and take home a piece of history. Visit pro-dreams.com to get your tickets. See you there.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Rolling along here, Tuesday edition of AFR, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Our pleasure to be joined by maybe a couple of guys who've ridden tractors in their days. I don't know, West Weeks, Whit Weeks in studio with us. Courtesy of our friends over at Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. Gents, how are you?
Good. Great.
Are we tractor people?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Well, I did see y'all did the whole gator hunt with our friends at Sunshine.
Right.
How did that go?
That was awesome. Man. That was awesome. That was really the first time. I mean, being from Georgia, we got gators in South Georgia, but that was the first time I've ever really seen alligators like that. And, I mean, they were massive. They're a lot bigger than I thought they'd be. Yeah, you don't really realize how big they are until you're right up on them. You're like, oh, dang, this thing's huge.
Y'all were going like Bo Jackson, bad over the shoulder pose with some of those dogs. Like, how big were those? How much did they weigh?
I think the ones that we put over our shoulders was probably about, what, like 100 pounds, 120 pounds? Those weren't the huge ones, but they were still pretty big.
That was incredible, man. Very cool. But we got some great partners, obviously, with Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana, but also Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. Guys are part of the G team. Gordon and his staff been great to us. Let us have these opportunities to chat with members of the G team. So glad to have the Weeks boys in. And I don't know, we do this again next year, guys. We'll have a third.
I know, we're going to have
a third chair.
Right. We're going to get another one in here.
Let's talk about how this all goes down, right? So Tuesday or Monday, Zach Weeks, the third. Are there any more?
We got a little sister. There's a little sister. She's in middle school.
Okay, got it. So she's not going to play football at LSU. Maybe cheerleader? We'll see somewhere down the line.
Maybe basketball player.
Did y'all know that, like, all along this was the plan? Wes, let me ask you, did you know all along this was the plan for Zach? Like, he was trying to reclassify and get into the 25 class?
Yeah, no, really from the start, no, because I was going into this season thinking it was going to be my last year. I mean, I didn't really have any intentions of coming back. And then, with the injuries and all and getting the opportunity to redshirt, I was like, oh, wow, if I come back for another year, there's a chance that maybe I could play with my other little brother. And so once he told me that he was thinking about that and that I was coming back for another year, I was like, oh, wow, this could be reality. And it just turned out to work out that way.
So when did you all as a family start talking about that possibility?
I think we started talking about it probably a week after I had decided to redshirt.
And when was that?
It was about, I think, somewhere near the UCLA game.
Okay.
Yeah, during that time.
Yeah. So what was what you had a leg, foot injury, something like that?
Yeah, high ankle sprain.
So you had the high ankle sprain.
Yep.
So you ended up coming back to play this past week against Vanderbilt. So that was your fourth game.
Mm-hmm.
But I saw you out there on the field. I'm like, that's number 4. Like, if he's trying to redshirt, he can't go. So the plan is like you wouldn't play against Oklahoma.
Yeah,
this
the
week.
plan was either to play last week against Vanderbilt or this week against Oklahoma, and it just happened to be that I was needed against Vanderbilt, so that's why I got to go in.
So, Whit, who's of the three of you at the point where Zach is right now? Right, so junior in high school, he's listed at 6'2", 220. Who's the best at that point?
The best? Ooh.
At that point. I'm not saying to, like, obviously he's, 16, 17.
I mean, he's about to come to college, so, I mean, that might give him a little boost. I mean, when I was a junior in high school, I was still getting ready to play high school football. Now he's about to get ready to play college football.
Do y'all, like, what were – like, I have a brother, when we're close in age. We're, like, 16 months apart. A lot of people mistook us for twins a lot when we were younger. But dude, we fought like hell.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
what was it like with the three of you all growing up together? Was it competitive? Was it love? What was it like?
Oh, it was
my
competitive,
gosh.
and we fought probably every single day. Like every single
Multiple
day.
times a day, beating on each other, doing whatever we could, sneak in a few punches while mom wasn't looking.
Dude, my mom would get so terrified too. She grew up like she has one older brother, but then 3 sisters, and so it was like she wasn't used to boys, like rough and tumble, like fighting, right? How did your mom handle that?
I have no idea, because usually it was him beating up on me and Zach, and then me beating up on Zach. But what she would do, she used to just, I remember if we would get into a big fight right before our dad got home from work, she would send us into his closet, and we'd just have to sit there scared for him when he was about to get home from work, and he'd get home from work, and he would just tear into you.
Oh, man, it's so relatable, I think, for so many. It's fascinating, too, because you mentioned your dad. Your dad played at Georgia, right? He played with Kirby and Muschamp, right? I mean, he was Mike Bobo. Like, he was on those teams. So how in the world do you get away from the Silver Britches, man? How do you get away from hunker down your hairy does? Y'all grew up Georgia fans, I would guess, yeah?
Big Georgia fans.
No doubt. So, like, Wes, I mean, you went to Virginia and then ended up at LSU. How did that happen?
Yeah, really. So I was the COVID class coming out of high school, so I didn't get to really visit as many places as I want to coming out of high school. So it was really more for me, the relationships coming out of high school. And I had a really good relationship with Coach Pop and Coach Hunter and Coach Bronco Mendenhall up at Virginia. So ultimately, that's kind of what led me to that decision. And then when they, after my freshman season, they stepped away from the program, I was like, all right, I can either restart here at Virginia with a new coach, or after having a good season up there, I can go somewhere else, have an opportunity, and then ultimately came down here to Baton Rouge and just fell in love with it.
What was it? Do you remember when you came on your visit?
It was January of that, I think 22 was when I came. And originally I wasn't even planning on coming down here because I was pretty dead set on going to South Carolina. So I'm like,
oh, no way.
All right, yeah, I'm just trying to get there, get enrolled, and then get rolling there. But they convinced me to take a visit out here, and I really just fell in love with it.
Yeah, and then for Whit, for you, so West comes down and plays that 22 season, right? Which was Brian Kelly's first. So when did you first make a visit here?
So the first time I came was probably a couple months after he got down here, April or March sometime, and I took a visit down here, and I mean, immediately I was like, one, he was already here, and two, I came down and liked it. So right then I knew I was probably going to come here. Like every factor was swinging for me to come to LSU.
What was it? Like, do you remember either of you guys, like, because I'd imagine, it's funny, we talk recruiting sometimes, and everyone's like, oh, this person had a great official visit. Well, like, of course you did.
Yeah.
Like, who has ever had a bad, I mean, did either of you have a bad OV?
No,
like,
I don't think so.
I mean, they roll out the red carpet, you're eating good meals, it's just first class, everything all the way. So what was it about the LSU visit that really made you kind of fall in love with it?
I remember,
you're like a pro too. You realize a cough cup right there? I tell you what.
I remember the first time I came down here, like the first memory I have of getting in Baton Rouge was one, seeing the stadium from the airplane. Like I opened the window and I was like, holy cow, like, that thing is massive. And then coming down Nicholson, looking up at Tiger Stadium, I was like, holy smokes, like it's huge. Like it just stands up really over the Delta, like they say. I mean, and that was really my first memory here. I'm like, holy cow, how cool would it be to play in there?
Yeah. What about you, West?
My first memory was going and eating at Chimes, and I just remember how good that was. I was like, man, if I could eat like this all the time, I got to come down here.
A little harder to keep the weight down, though.
Yeah,
you'll learn that especially as you get older, the metabolism slows. You're not wearing 20 pounds of pads, in 120-degree weather out there in fall camp all the time. West Weeks and Whit Weeks are with us here, courtesy of our friends over at Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. During your time at LSU, you've also obviously had the opportunity to do some really fun NIL deals. What was it about the opportunity with Gordon that was kind of appealing? Wes, I'll start with you.
Really just being able to grow your brand with him. I mean, he's a very influential person in this community. And I feel like just being able to associate yourself with him is something that really can help you grow your personal brand.
Yeah, Whit, you like the Gordon jingle?
Yeah,
you like the Flaugier one? I like the Flaugier.
I don't know if I've heard.
You
that
haven't heard
one.
that one? Oh, so Flaugier did a rap to the Gordon
Okay.
jingle last year on the Super Bowl. It's phenomenal.
All right, I'll have to listen to that one. But really, What I remember last year we did a deal with him, and one of the main factors was his bike giveaway. So I kind of was like, all right, like he's giving back to the community, and we were able to show up for that, kind of promote it a little bit. So I like giving back to the community in that way.
Yeah, man. You can go to GordonGives.com, by the way, for that bike giveaway. GordonGives.com. Gordon's giving away 488 bicycles to children around the state of Louisiana, something he does every year around the holidays. Very, very cool giveaway. Gordon's always said he wants to give back to the communities that gave him so much. So if you're interested or want to try to win one of those bicycles for a kiddo around the state of Louisiana, go to GordonGives.com and you can fill out the form right there on the homepage. I want to talk a little bit about the future in our next segment. Let's talk a little bit about this year. It's so interesting, I think, anytime you go through a coordinator change, right? Mm-hmm. Because, I mean, for us, for fans and media, like, we're not in meeting rooms, we're not at practice. So, like, I think we think about a coordinator change and, like, any type of turnover there would be some type of a challenge to catch up in terminology or expectation. What's that been like for you guys, especially with Blake Baker coming in as your position coach as well? Whit, you want to start?
Yeah, I mean, as far as learning the defense, he got here in January, and right away we got into it. I mean, we were meeting, learning his defense, learning his terminology, his stuff. So you start in January, and you just learn the defense up until summer ball. Then you start over in summer ball, go through all your installs again. And then in fall camp again, you restart, go through every install. So you really get to learn it 3 times before you even step on the field for a game. But ultimately, him as a dude coming in here, I feel like he really rejuvenated the defense with his passion and his love and joy that he comes in with every day. So I couldn't be more happy for him to be my coach.
There was a play I remember in fall camp. Y'all were doing an 11-on-11.
Oh, yeah.
And what am I going to say?
What you're talking about. When he was overthrown ball and he caught it on the sideline and he started going crazy.
How did you know that's what I was going to say? And he had to drop down and do push-ups too, or something like that.
Yeah, that was like the next play he dropped it.
Yeah, he could have had 2 back-to-back plays.
Yeah. Give me a little bit more on that, though, because you can notice, and again, like, we would go out there during camp and we'd get to see 45 minutes, an hour, whatever it is. And there's some things you do this long enough and you observe from a distance, like you could tell certain things, right? Mm-hmm. And it was it's very clear with him. It's a different energy thing.
Definitely.
So, like, Wes, what is the difference? Like, how has that made a difference for y'all this year?
Well, I think the biggest difference with him, like, it's all genuine. Like, that's really him as a person. Like, there's no fake energy. He's not faking anything. That's really how he is 24/7. He's always on go like that. He knows when to have fun. He knows when you need to lock in. So I feel like that is one of his best traits for sure as a coach.
How much better? Look, last year was a challenge. We know that defensively. But in this year, it's clear there's been a lot of progress, still a ways to go. I think everybody would agree to that. But where do you all think, from your perspectives, that as a defense you all have improved most from where you were a year ago to where you are now 11 games under Blake Baker?
Yeah, I feel like really it's just us coming together and really just believing it and buying all into it. Like, we know that if we have a good week of practice, good week of locking in on our preparation, that we're going to go out there on a Saturday and put our best foot out.
Yeah.
I was going to say the same thing. I mean, really this year, like, our whole defense has come together like this, like 11 dudes playing for each other. So really just exactly what he said.
One other thing that was certainly challenging is, like, Jacobian Guillory, who was in here with us last week, was supposed to be the veteran defensive tackle. Mm-hmm. And Harold was the preseason SEC defensive player of the year. And you lose both of those guys, 2 and 3 games into the season. Like, how much, I mean, obviously you lose great players like that, it's going to make a difference, but, like, how much of a difference has that made for y'all defensively? Like, what would it be like if you had those 2 guys?
And I wish we still did have those 2 guys for sure. But, I mean, playing a sport that's as violent as football is, that it's a next man up mentality. And, like, you can't let one injury ruin your whole season. I mean, as much as we'd love to have those guys out there, you can't go into the tank because they're not out there.
Yeah, we know Tank. We know Jacobian Guillory's coming back next year.
I know, thank goodness.
Y'all have a feeling on Harold? What he's going to do? Y'all ever talk?
Shoot, I'm not sure, but whatever decision he makes, he knows that we're all behind him.
Yeah, support him 100%.
He'll. It's so interesting because it was like it was a foregone conclusion. I mean, everyone just knew he was going to go be a first-round pick. Right. He has the unfortunate injury. Like, it sounds like there might be a chance that Perk comes back. If that happens, man.
Oh, I know. We're hoping he comes back. We're hoping he comes back.
We got Whit Weeks and West Weeks in studio. Next year when they're here. Zach will be in studio as well. We'll just have, like, someone joked and said one more and we'd have a month.
Yeah, right.
We'd have the month. Courtesy of Gordon McKernan Injury Returns. Let's knock out a quick break. We'll come back. When we do, we'll continue with the guys. Talk a little bit about the rest of this season and, of course, next year as well, when all three Weeks brothers will be on the same LSU team together. Stick around. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Darren James and Associates, brokered by LPT Realty. Buying or selling commercial or residential. If you are even thinking about selling your home, you got to call Darren James, the #1 realtor in the state of Louisiana. Not my opinion. That's fact. Based on the number of homes sold. Wall Street Journal Real Trends listed the top 1% of realtors in America. Darren James, number 13 in the country, #1 in Louisiana on the transaction side. It's incredible. How's Darren able to do that much volume? His people, his processes, all of that in place. And, of course, part of LPT Realty as well. That's LPT, Listing Power Tools. You take Darren, his work ethic, all of his marketing ability, and then LPT Realty with all of the tools they afford their realtors, you end up the #1 realtor in the state of Louisiana. You need to sell your home. You need Darren James. Agent225.com. That's agent225.com for Darren James.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Rolling along here. Glad to have West and Whit Weeks in studio with us, courtesy of our friends over at Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. Thanksgiving, we all have Thanksgiving here. Are your family, your parents coming in?
They are.
Yeah.
Yep, Dad's actually coming in town today, so
Nice.
we'll get to see him.
Do y'all have a traditional family Thanksgiving? Have you had any of the South Louisiana Cajun Creole influences seep into everything?
Well, usually what we do for Thanksgiving back home is obviously our whole extended family gets together. But now that we're playing college ball and you got a game, you can't really have as big as a Thanksgiving as you'd want to have.
When you're at home, what's your go-to? Like, what do you have to eat?
Man, I got to go with the honey baked ham. I love honey baked
ham.
ham.
I'm the same way. Honey baked ham, a little gravy on there.
Have y'all had fried turkey?
Oh yeah.
Okay, good.
Oh yeah.
Fried turkey is a staple. What about like shrimp mirliton or anything like that?
I've never had that.
So we gotta push y'all into the deep end. You'll get there. But we don't push y'all into the deep end. We'll get there. But it's Oklahoma this week. This is it. Like, I guess y'all wouldn't have been in school yet when Georgia played Oklahoma in the Rose Bowl, right? The Baker Mayfield game.
Y'all
remember watching that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Give me your thoughts on watching that. I mean, that was the crazy overtime game with the big comeback and everything like that. What do you remember about watching that?
I remember the overtime run by Sony Michel. I mean, that was.
Guys, got it, right?
Yeah,
got it, man.
I mean, that whole game, I remember, being a Georgia fan back in the day, I was like, oh my gosh, we're getting smoked. We're getting smoked. Like Baker Mayfield's destroying us. But then they were able to come back and win.
Do you have any Georgia stuff still in your wardrobe?
No.
Oh, no.
It's all gone?
Not a thing. Not a thing.
So there's not, like, what is your dad? Like, that's what's fascinating to me. Like, played at Georgia. Like, what does he do?
He's LSU all the way.
Yeah, he's 100% in on LSU. I don't think he even has a Georgia thing in his wardrobe, too.
So Georgia's going to play in the SEC championship game. Like, is he going to go to the game, cheer for Georgia? He's just out.
Nah.
Just don't even care.
Done.
I love it. God, that's so good. It just goes to show you, man, like, family's family, dog. Like, it's your kids, man. That is where all allegiances. Did y'all ever watch the movie The Mighty Ducks? You ever seen that?
The hockey movie?
Yeah, the hockey movie.
Yeah.
You know, like, I know it's an old movie now, but, like, the dad of one of the kids who played for the Hawks goes and plays for the Ducks, and the dad, when they're playing, is like sitting on the Hawks side with a Hawks jacket. And I'm like, dog, what are you doing, man? Let's get your kid. You don't get to cheer against your kid. That's just terrible. Anyway, so Oklahoma, I brought up Oklahoma. You're going to play Oklahoma this week. This will be the first time ever that LSU and Oklahoma have played in the regular season. Y'all remember watching LSU Oklahoma in 19?
Yep.
When Justin Jefferson had like 18 touchdowns that game?
Yeah, like 4 in the first half, didn't he, or something like that?
It was insane, man. They scored 63. They could have scored 100 if they wanted to. But when y'all watch Oklahoma on film, huge win this week against Alabama, obviously. When you look at Oklahoma's offense, like what stands out? Wait, I'll start with you.
They love to give you eye candy. I mean, they're sending people all over the ball. They're running runs that you don't usually see often. I mean, their offense is, from what I've seen so far, I mean, it's only Tuesday, so I'm still studying up on them, but it's almost kind of like a mix between Vanderbilt's run game, but then also a little bit of Ole Miss in there too, where it's spread. They like to spread the ball out, get you in spread formations, but they run the ball.
Yeah. They did this last week against Alabama, which was a little different dynamic, seeing Jackson Arnold run more than 20 times in that game. Wes, like being injured but healthy, but like the plan is you're not going to play on Saturday. You want to maintain the red shirt. Like, what's a game week like for you this week when you're not planning on playing?
So I'll still practice and all that, and then really my job this week is to help out these guys, seeing if I can see anything on the field, find little bits from film that give them tips and stuff, and then just on Saturday getting behind my boys and cheering them on.
Yeah, you know, man, it's one of the conversations going into last week that a lot of people had here was, you know, before the season, all the stated goals, right? Go to Atlanta, win the SEC, go to the playoff, win the Natty, even win 10 games. All that's off the table. And so the question last week was, all right, how would they respond? And, I mean, it was very clear. I mean, y'all went really control. I mean, the final score was 7, but y'all controlled the whole game against Vanderbilt. It's really impressive. What internally, what do y'all talk about as far as the motivation this week against Oklahoma? Where fans are certainly thinking, well, the playoffs gone. What do you play for? Like, clearly players see it differently. It's like, I mean, what is this week?
I mean, there's no lack of motivation. I mean, me as a competitor, everybody on our team, like when you step between those lines, it doesn't matter if you're 0-10 or 10-0. Like you're gonna go 110% no matter what. If you're 0-for or if you're undefeated.
Yeah. So do y'all talk about 8 wins or going to a better bowl game, or is that even anything that's on the radar for y'all?
I mean, at this point, I think it's just win each week, win each day, win each practice, win each rep.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, I think it's kind of going off of what he said. It's really just proving to us, like, we know we're a good football team. We know we got to go out and finish the right way, and we know we got to go get these last 2 wins.
Yeah. Who You can play in the bowl game though, right?
Yeah, I can play in the bowl game.
I'm sure they changed that rule. There was a few years ago. LSU played in the Texas Bowl against Kansas.
Nuss.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and so Nuss didn't play, and because they didn't want to lose redshirt year, so they played a wide receiver at quarterback. So that's great. So you get to play in the bowl game. When I love to ask this question too, because we get this obviously see games and stuff like that, but y'all are at practice every day. Who's a guy on offense that maybe we don't get to see that really pops? You're like, oh my God, look out for that guy. Anybody that stands out?
I'll say, well, he's injured right now, but I'd say Kyle Parker at receiver. Before he got injured, I mean, he was doing some real good stuff.
He could fly.
Yeah.
Huh? What about an offensive lineman? Like, who do you? Yeah, go ahead, Wes.
Yeah, I was gonna say, man, every single day, Will and Emery are just, they're busting their tail. It don't matter if what drill it is, that those two dudes are gonna be busting their tail no matter what.
Is there a young guy, though, that maybe isn't playing a bunch that y'all could say, man, look, that's what it's supposed to look like? Like, he's going to be good.
Yeah, I think Weston, he's really kind of come into his own, and I feel like he is kind of due for a breakout year. He's going to have a great spring ball, roll that into fall camp, and then hopefully be able to crack that starting lineup next year.
Yeah, man, it's interesting how much guys can improve. Well, you don't see them in the games, right? But you go practice for 4 months, like, you're going to get better.
Definitely.
Like, you always see it, then you end up seeing guys in spring, like you just said, that sort of break out. When y'all start, actually, Whit, I wanted to ask you too. I'd be remiss if I didn't. The play against Arkansas, because everybody's going to talk about this forever. Like, for as long as you live, you'll learn this if you haven't already. For as long as you live and you go around Baton Rouge, people are going to remember that play.
Yeah.
It's just the way that it works around. People are going to tell you they remember watching it, this and that. So, give me your recollections of that play. Like, what was called, what happened on the...
Yeah, well, I remember we were just coming off the sideline. I think it was, didn't they get a 4th down stop or something going in the goal line? Yeah, so we came off the sideline. We're like, we got to keep them down here, keep this good field position. Coach Baker dialed up a blitz. I'm coming off the edge. I see the quarterback's hand comes off the ball. I just jump, block the ball, and I'm looking up for it, and I don't see it. But then I look down, and I see Major, and the ball's like right in front of Major, and I just grab it, and I'm trying to get in the end zone, and somebody tripped me up somehow. But I remember just reaching out and being like, please score. But I didn't score. I was like, shoot, we're down here on the 1 anyways. We better be able to run this in.
Have either of you ever scored a touchdown before?
Oh yeah. In high school.
Did y'all on defense or did y'all play offense?
I had a pick six. I had 3 pick sixes in my career, but also offense. We both played a bunch of offense.
Okay, y'all played offense.
Oh yeah.
Did you play running back or what?
Everything. Running back, receiver, fullback, tight end.
You're like those kind of people. So yeah, they're the best guy on the team. Just put them.
He played quarterback.
Yeah, he played quarterback?
Yeah, I did a little bit of quarterback, running back, receiver, tight end, all that.
Do you miss playing offense ever?
No, not really. I like defense better.
Go light some people up, huh? Whit and Wes Weeks are in studio with us, courtesy of our friends over at Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. Remind you again, go to GordonGives.com, GordonGives.com. The Gordon Bike giveaway is going on right now, giving away 488 bicycles to children across the state of Louisiana. Go to GordonGives.com to register. Guys, I know there's still another game in the regular season here, a bowl game, but a lot of people are looking ahead and excited about the future. When you look ahead to 2025, the opportunity to have all 3 Weeks brothers together on the same team. By the way, that hadn't happened at LSU since 2008. The Taylor brothers, Brandon, Curtis, and Jiron Taylor were all on the team in 2008. So it's a rarity to see something like this happen. But when you look ahead to 2025 with all 3 of you, like, what's something that makes you most excited? Like, what's a goal? What's something that you look forward to for 25? Whit?
I mean, really, what I'm looking forward to is having all 3 of us here. I mean, that's never happened for us. I mean, I was able to play with him for 2 years in high school, and then I also got to play with Zach for 1 year. But I mean, for all 3 of us to come together and play, I mean, I know him and Zach never thought that they'd be able to be on the same team.
Yeah, that's really what I'm looking forward to most is being able to play with the littlest brother, and that's something I never really thought was even a possibility. And now that it's going to happen, I think it's going to be a pretty cool experience.
So we were talking about earlier, Zach's not going to early enroll. He's got to finish high school.
He's still got to finish up a little bit.
So y'all won't see him on the field until fall camp come July. Right. Y'all going to go like headhunt a little bit and some tackle drill or something like that?
Oh yeah, for sure. We're gonna have to welcome them to college football for sure.
Oh, it's so good, man. Like, y'all think to 25? I mean, do y'all think in terms of playoff championship? Like, do you let yourself go there?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, going into every year, that's the goal. And I think this year coming up short is going to just put that motivation even on a higher level for this coming year.
Yeah. I know when y'all sat with Gordon, they did one of the videos where they had y'all trying to spell
Oh, goodness.
Spelled Tchoupitoulas.
Yeah.
That was bad. That was
Stuff
bad.
like that. Have y'all studied up any?
Oh, my gosh.
Not really, but I mean, everywhere I go, people are always like saying words that I don't even know what they are. They're like, how do you say this? I'm like, I have no idea. But what I tell people, I'm like, all right, if you come to Georgia, I guarantee you I could give you 10 cities that you don't know how to pronounce either.
Bro, there's no, because you have a lot of of American Indian
Right, exactly.
cities, so
Exactly.
it's challenging. I was doing an interview with Dari Noka from the SEC Network. Does that sound familiar? Dari's on SEC Network. I was doing an interview on his show, and so I was doing the same thing.
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
Andouille, Tchoupitoulas, all that stuff. And so then he hit me with a town in Oklahoma that's an Indian name.
yeah.
I came close. I missed one of the vowels. I came close. Like, where did y'all play high school? What's it? How do you pronounce it?
Oconee County. Yeah, that's
nobody really hardly knows how to pronounce that
Oconee.
either.
It's like Oconee or something. Yeah. So Oconee County. Anyway, we got Tchoupitoulas. They got Oconee. And they'll have all 3 weeks brothers in Baton Rouge next year. It's West and Whit weeks, courtesy of our friends over at Gordon McCurran Injury Attorneys. Guys, good health, a lot of success on the field. Go get them this weekend against Oklahoma. We appreciate the time.
Thank you for having us on.
Thank you.
It's our pleasure. We certainly appreciate Gordon McCurran Injury Attorneys for making it happen. You know what to do. Get Gordon and get it done. We'll roll along, wrap up hour number 2 here on AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Clegg's Nursery. 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area. Seagan near Airline, LA 16 and Denham, Mid-City on Donmore, Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. I've told you for years, the Moscona family tradition. We'll go fill our bellies on Thursday. Probably an old-fashioned, couple glasses of wine as well. I'll sleep it off, wake up Friday, have a cup of coffee. Erica, Drew, and I will head over to Clegg's Nursery. We'll get the Griswold family Christmas tree, the Moscona family Christmas tree, over at Clegg's. Look, all 4 locations, the trees are there. Real trees and the pre-lit, the artificial trees, if that's what you want for your family as well. But they got the great selection all the way up to 12, 13, 14-foot trees over at any of the 4 Clegg's Nursery locations. Also, this Saturday, y'all, is the Poinsettia Open House. You want to go decorate your home for the holidays? Now's the time. Clegg's Nursery can help you do it. Get all the info on their Facebook page if you want to check it out. Clegg's Nursery to get all the information about the Poinsettia Open House will be 10 to 2 at the Greenwell Springs location this Saturday at Clegg's Nursery.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
We're gathering all the appropriate information, and I'll let the legal process kind of take place. And do want to acknowledge that we were made aware of it. What you've seen out there is accurate, and then we'll proceed as we gather more information accordingly.
It's Sean McVay. Apparently, you can build a multi-billion-dollar stadium that is not fully equipped with Wi-Fi. Is that on account of out in L.A. they use like the wind turbines for power? Is that what happened? Maybe
could be. That's you know what? That's a good thought. Yeah, it could be it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Anyway, Demarcus Robinson was arrested on suspicion of DUI, observed driving more than 100 miles an hour at 5:13 a.m. Just hours after he caught a touchdown and the Rams lost to Philly on Sunday Night Football. So the big question is if Demarcus Robinson will play Sunday in New Orleans against the Saints. Here is McVay.
What we're going to see. I want to be able to gather all the appropriate information before I, commit to something one way or the other. But I do know that we've made the league aware. There's a process that they go about, and then I'll have more information for you guys as I get the appropriate facts and deal with this in the best way that we think is in alignment with what we want to, with how we want to operate.
Demarcus Robinson, 26 catches on the season for 384, 6 touchdowns for the Rams. Remember, it's a Rams offense that has scuffled at times this year. They're now healthy with Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp back, but now some question around Demarcus Robinson if he'll be available for the game Sunday against the New Orleans Saints. So keep an eye there, but the Rams coming off a Sunday Night Football thrashing at the hands of the Eagles where Saquon went off for 250. You're looking at the game Sunday with the Saints and the Rams, big components. The Rams healthy now, passing game, potentially maybe without Demarcus Robinson. We'll see with Tyler Higbee as well. But against the Saints secondary that was without Paulson Adebo, is without Marshawn Lattimore, as we know. You've got a couple of young guys there now with Alontae Taylor and Kool-Aid McKinstry. And then on the other side, a Saints running game. Saints did not have Eric McCoy or Lucas Patrick at practice Tuesday. So could the Saints be down a couple of starting offensive linemen against a Rams rush defense that just gave up 250 to Saquon Barkley? A couple of storylines to follow as we move throughout the week. All right, brought to you by Shawbills Tire and Auto Service, ShawBillsTire.com. Locations all over South Louisiana. ShawBillsTire.com. Y'all, the Black Friday exclusive deals going on right now at Shawbills. They always have the best prices, the best deals, but right now you will get instantly $80 off Michelin tires, $60 off BF Goodrich tires, $40 off Firestone, Bridgestone, Nitto, Toyo tires, and free installation. It's a $118 value when you use your Shawbills credit card. You can get all of the great details at the website at ShawBillsTire.com. ShawBillsTire.com, of course, that's on top of the regularly scheduled promotions. See store for full details, subject to credit approval. Get all the info at Shawbills Tire and Auto Service, ShawBillsTire.com. That offer is valid from November 27th through December the 2nd. Again, go online to ShawBillsTire.com to get all the details. Shawbills Tire and Auto Service, Shawbills, where we keep you rolling. All right, Muso, Tigers in the pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now. We'll start with Monday Night Football.
Wow.
Ravens, Chargers. We'll start with the victorious Ravens. Tre'Davious White out there. Remember, he
Shaq a bit.
Yeah, picked up by the Ravens near the deadline. 3 total stops in the ball game. Also did have a pass defense in the game as well. Christian Fulton, of course, on the other side with the Chargers. Talked about a few really good games he's had this year. 2 stops in the ball game last night. Cam Thomas for the Brooklyn Nets followed up his 34-point performance on Sunday with a 23-point performance on Monday, 6 of 11 from the floor. Trendon Watford also out there for the Nets, 8 points and 4 boards. It being the second half of a back-to-back means Ben Simmons had the night off. That's Tigers in the Pros.
All right, it's after further review. Coming down the home stretch here of hour number 2, and glad you're with us. We appreciate our friends over at Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana, sunequip.com, sunequip.com. We're so proud to be partnered with our friends over at Sunshine and John Deere. Of course, the John Deere toys, 20% off up into Christmas. They got awesome toys. You want to get a toy tractor? Of course, if you're going to give that a kiddo in your life who wants a toy tractor, you're going to get him a green John Deere. 20% off right now at Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Sean Salsbury will be with us here right after the top of the hour. I do want to delve into the Saints-Rams matchup with Sean coming up in just a little bit, but also such a big core of the LSU offense getting going this week, by Brian Kelly's own admission, was simplifying. So they ran like 5-6 plays. They ran 4 verticals like 7 times in the game. I want to talk to Sean about simplifying for Nussmeier and how that might have helped him. We'll get to that coming up after SportsCenter. It's AFR.
AFR.
Y'all, we're moving into the cold weather season. Great time right now to make your home more energy efficient. The best way to do that is with energy efficient replacement windows from Relief Windows. Windows, door, siding. Oh, yeah, they do gutters as well. Or excuse me, they do shutters. I want to say gutters. They do shutters as well. They do not do gutters. They do shutters as well over at Relief Windows. And, you know, working with Relief Windows, you're always going to have an exceptional customer service experience. You know, I say it all the time to you. You can go get quotes. But if you're going to get quotes trying to shop price, Relief Windows will not be the cheapest. They will never be the cheapest. They can't be the cheapest. They offer a premium product. They offer exceptional customer service. They have an entire service department. They offer service after the sale. They offer a lifetime transferable warranty on labor, material, and glass breakage. You want the best? You want Relief Windows. ReliefWindows.com.
Let's talk turkey. Bayou Ford can get you in a new 2024 Ford F-150 with $15,000 off MSRP. $15,000 off America's favorite F-150 truck. All new Bayou automotive vehicles come with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. North Carolina football coach Mack Brown had intended to return next season. The school, though, had other plans. Announced that Brown will not be back in 2025. He'll coach Saturday's regular season finale. No decision yet if he'll coach the Tar Heels in a bowl game. Latest college football rankings unveiled tonight at 8 Eastern exclusively on ESPN. NFL, Cowboys owner Jerry Jones, during today's appearance on 105.3 The Fan, was asked if it's crazy to think Coach Mike McCarthy could receive a contract extension after this season. It is not crazy at all, says Jones.
Mike McCarthy has been there, done that. He's got great ideas. So bottom line is that there's no place in my body language or anything else have you seen indications about what we're going to be doing relative to this staff at the end of this year. And we shouldn't.
Quarterback Aaron Rodgers told the Pat McAfee Show he's undecided if he wants to continue his NFL career in 2025, but if he does, he wants it to be with the Jets.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Make sure your family is well taken care of with life insurance. Protect your phones, laptops, and more with electronic device insurance. And cover your furry friends with pet health insurance.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
Let's rock!
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
Yes, sir. And Mr. Toby Tom Blake. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you are driving home with us. Do it every Tuesday during the football season. Visit with our guy Sean Salisbury. Catch him on Twitter, X at Sean Unfiltered. Love to talk quarterback play, all things football here for a couple of segs. Sean, early happy Thanksgiving, man. How are you?
I'm doing well, Matt. Same to you, man. Good to be with you.
Thanks, man. Always our pleasure. Hey, I want to start with the Saints this week. The Saints are coming off a bye. They got the Rams coming in. I'll ask you a question I've been asking a good bit. When you saw on Sunday Night Football what Saquon and the Eagles did running the football against the Rams, is that something that is replicable this week for the New Orleans Saints? Because, man, that's hard to ignore when you see an NFL back go off for 250.
Oh, yeah, and what do coordinators – first of all, they're not dumb. The coordinators are pretty smart. They're going to go after it. And then the other side of it is if you're the Rams, you're saying, well, there's another good team that can run the football efficiently with the little mix, with the Taysom Hill and Kamara. They know how to mix a few things in, so you would expect them to try the same thing. So if you're the Rams, what do? You say, we're going to make them beat us throwing the football. Well, they're capable of doing that at quarterback. So it's the old cat and mouse and the chess piece that goes with it. But the one thing that's missing, as good as Alvin Kamara is and as good as Taysom Hill is, Saquon Barkley is the MVP of the Philadelphia Eagles and is one of the MVPs of this league. He has just the screen game, his ability to catch the ball, and you see him. He's not just a guy who will take it in and thump you, but he's got such big playability. So, yeah, of course you want to replicate it, but when you're doing something well, you want somebody to repeat it. Or if somebody else does it, you look at it and say, okay, how do we attack that? By formationing it different, so it doesn't always look the same to the Rams that it may have with Philadelphia, but by window dressing trying to get the same result. The other side of it is obviously the Rams defense is saying we were humiliated in the run game. And Matt, there's a difference to me when you're throwing the ball all over somebody. And when you do that, that's one of those, the guy dancing around the ring and hits you. And I've mentioned boxing before on this show, I think, is that he hits you and lands that right hook. And you say, wait a minute, that was a lucky blow. I want a rematch. But when they are running the football and pounding you into submission, it steals your soul, like I've said before. And so the Rams don't want their soul stolen. So they will do everything they can to try and guard against it, which should create some outside the numbers and perimeter opportunities because the Saints are capable of running it. We saw before the bye week that they can run it. But Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry, Joe Mixon, we're talking about different, unique dudes, and Saquon Barkley's at the top of that list right now, as good as anybody along with Henry.
Yeah, I'll ask about the Saints offense here in a second, but to stay on the Rams, what version of Matthew Stafford do you think we're – the Saints and the Rams there's no play often. What version of Matthew Stafford do you think we're seeing here in 2024?
Well, a guy who's had to, they're a team that has leaned on him so much, and but he's used to it. In Detroit all those years, Matt Stafford didn't play well. Detroit didn't win. And then he comes over to gets a Super Bowl ring. And then, with guys leaving and with free agency and with their two top receivers who were hurt at the beginning of the year, they had to try and reinvent themselves and take care of their business. I love Matt Stafford. He is still capable. If you line up 5-6 guys in a league and put the ball in their hand and say, you got to throw it through that window to a tight window, he's still capable. I think he's one of the best throwers of the football. Mechanically, it looks different because he's a three-quarter guy, but he's been able to rip it his whole career. So I'm not ready to watch Matt Stafford walk away from football. I think there's a lot. There's that gas tank has got plenty in it. It's just that he got to have run game, got to have some help. Now, if you're the Rams and Sean McVay, well, they'd like to – everybody wants to run it. They say it, but your best chance to win it is still to play. They love the short passing game. You guys have seen that in your past in New Orleans, but with their two guys, with Puka and with Cooper Kupp, those guys will just find spots. I would imagine in this game, they're going to put the ball in Stafford's hands and let him do what he does and throw it around the lot. He's been doing it his whole career, but they're just not near as physical as they were when they were winning Super Bowls. They've got to get back to that, but they'll finesse you to death. If you don't hit him, he will destroy you. He's still capable of doing that.
It's interesting too, Sean, because this is one of the things with the Saints. I hate to say it's a lost season, but it feels like they're just playing out the string at this point. But right. But who knows? The division's terrible, and
don't tell the interim coach that, right?
Right. But one of the things they did obviously was they traded away Marshawn Lattimore, and Paulson Adebo is hurt, so they've moved Delonte Taylor out to the boundary after having playing in the slot, and now Kool-Aid McKinstry, a rookie, is playing the other outside cornerback slot. So one of the things everyone here is really interested in is how do those two young corners fare? Like, are they your guys for the future? Like, will you find that out here during the rest of the season? Well, this is a pretty interesting matchup. So what do you look for from those two guys in this game, given the matchup you're talking about with Stafford and those receivers?
Well, depending on now, Matt, I don't know if how they're going to approach following these guys around, because the one thing about these receivers is the versatility of moving them inside and outside in motion. They make it really difficult for you to line up and clutch and grab. You know what I'm saying? There's always, and it's McVay, and McVay and Shanahan, and movement to get guys going in a lot of stuff and picks and runaways. It's a great test for two young defensive backs. It is, depending on where they line up. And it's truth, McVay will go after them as well. And so will Stafford. And if you want to see if they're going to be tested, you'll learn a lot. They will be tested because they'll move around. And you know what? It's one thing to try and simulate Matt Stafford or somebody or those receivers on the practice field. Different ball game when they're out there. Precise, both of them, and the route. They know how to run routes. They are precise at it. They know exactly where they're going. And when they say a 12-yard route, it ain't run at 10. These two are probably the best combination of route runners and finishers. I'm just talking about in that controlled passing game environment. These are also two guys that Sean Payton would have loved, right? I mean, this is who they are. And so it'll be a challenge for their secondary. It will. And the best way to probably solve that is you better go hit the quarterback, because if he's setting his feet, those guys are going to get open. And it doesn't matter if you move them inside and they're followed, or you're chasing them around the field, or you move them outside. If you play a lot of man, play a lot of zone, But to me, if you're New Orleans, I want to see them deal with two of the best in the league at what they do. So it's a good, if they have mailed it. I don't want to say mailed it in as a team, but if they are looking to the future, you need to find out in 6 games is a good body of work to see what they got. And if you can hold up against this passing game, because if they are, like I said, if he can set his feet and rip it, they'll take their shots, and that they will. This is the type of team that both guys between the two of them can have 20 catches. That's how they're going to get a lot of targets and throws. So a good test. When you come out of this one, you're going to, number one, be exhausted if you're those two players and you're playing a lot of man coverage, but you're going to know that you've been through a passing game that understands zones and where to sit down. So it's a good challenge for them, not only physically, but mentally understanding how good passing schemes attack it when they have two good players and then some offensively. The Rams can still score when Stafford's upright. They can. They just lack the dominate you at the line of scrimmage that the good teams have right now.
Yeah, it's so interesting. They're 20th in the league, just 21 points per game, but it's in there. Like it could explode at any moment.
Right. They've been so I didn't mean to cut you off.
No,
They've been so up and down, but I can assure you that they are capable of throwing 40 on somebody. That because of the guy who throws it, and they have, and what do they got to lose but just doing what they're trying to find out something about themselves. So they are down offensively scoring, and a lot of that, obviously, they were without their guys for a minute, but you know how formidable they are. I assure you the Saints defense knows exactly what their game plan is going to have to be. Those two can't take the game over. Yeah. If they do, then that means that Stafford's had the type of game that has made him, quite frankly, a Hall of Fame quarterback.
What do you think about Carr in this game? It's been interesting, Sean. Marquez Valdes-Scantling's been amazing as a deep threat. I can't believe that guy was unemployed. It's like, how is he just
amazing how the fit, you go somewhere else and it fits and works, isn't it? Yeah, no doubt.
How do you think Derek Carr in the Saints passing game with Scantling and don't really know who else go match up against that Rams secondary?
I think well, and I think a big help this week is also going to be if the ability to run the football, and you know that. And listen, I don't really care what it is. I'm an old school Raider philosophy guy that I like to take shots early. I want to back them off, and I want to come out of the chute and let's take a shot and see how they're going to play us, meaning the Rams secondary, and to find out, what they're going to do with their front and their coverage and tie those in together. They are limited weapons. There is no question about it, are the Saints, but you can manufacture creating some opportunities. And this guy, and they know, listen, they're going to probably roll some coverage and not let him have the deep shots that he wants. But I think this is one of those games that if you're the Saints, you'd probably like to keep it under 30 throws. I do. And mix in Taysom Hill running it, have him mix in a few throws and run the football. I do. But I don't think you want to get into a passing fancy. I just don't. Now, neither team this year is going to, go to the places they want to go. But you can throw it around. The difference is how you going to work formations and what are you going to do to set up an opportunity to get that guy open, Scantling, and then also try to find. You're going to have to find other weapons in the passing game. And the screen game is going to be important. And I think Alvin Kamara is one of our best slow screen guys on the planet. And Taysom Hill can mix him in. So I think you got to get multiple with your formations to try and create him. And I'm a big believer in taking my best weapon, receiver, and putting him in a lot of different spots. I am. And make it tough for them to, when I say find him, make it tough for them to know where they're rolling the coverage too. Because right now he's their biggest big play guy. And you're right, hard to believe that he was unemployed for a minute. So big play guy, you can take one away. The key for them is also going to be in the receivers, the running back, and getting them involved and how exotic will the Saints be in this. But you're capable of lining them up and running right down their throat. But some play action ought to work, especially with the success the Eagles have had this past week and with the ability of the Kamaras and Taysom Hills to take care of their business. I would expect the Saints to try and dominate the line of scrimmage and then mix in some big plays out of play action.
He's Sean Salsbury. Get him at Sean Unfiltered. Sean, let's not got a quick break. Come back. We'll talk some Tigers. Welcome in Oklahoma. How did the LSU offense get right, including what Brian Kelly talked about simplifying for Garrett Nussmeier? We'll get Sean's take on that and how LSU matches up against that Sooner defense, which just had a field day against Alabama. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Rouse's.com. Rouse's.com. Y'all, remember, you still got time before Thanksgiving to get on by Rouse's. You still got the great deal going on. You could buy a ham, get a turkey, buy a Hormel Cure 81 spiral sliced ham, $2.99 a pound, minimum $25 purchase, in-store only. Buy that ham, get a free grade A frozen butterball turkey up to 14 pounds, absolutely free. Again, buy a ham, get a turkey at Rouse's. Take care of all your protein for Thanksgiving dinner. Rouse's is helping you do it. They're taking care of everything for Thanksgiving as well. So make sure you get by Rouse's. If you need some of that holiday cheer as well, cheer in a glass, red wine, white wine, they got a great selection. Remember, their Buy 4, Save More program. The more wine you buy, the more you save. Get to try a lot of different reds and whites you may not otherwise try. It's at Rouse's, Rouse's.com. Rouse's, this feels like home.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram can get you in a new 2025 Ram 1500 truck with $15,000 off MSRP. $15,000 off the newly designed Ram 1500 truck. All new Bayou Automotive vehicles come with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Join us at Pro Dreams in Mandeville for our special event, A Day of Champions. Meet LSU National Championship winning head coaches Jay Johnson, Skip Burtman, and Paul Maneri. Don't miss your chance to purchase authentic sports memorabilia, autographed by the champions themselves. It's the perfect opportunity to celebrate LSU baseball and take home a piece of history. Visit pro-dreams.com to get your tickets. See you there.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Go get you a big old tractor. Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. I love our friends over at Sunshine. Happy Thanksgiving from all of our friends at Sunshine. Sunequip.com, sunequip.com. Visit with Sean Salisbury every Tuesday here. We talk some Saints in the last segment. Flip it, talk a little LSU and Oklahoma. Actually, Sean, let's start with LSU and Vanderbilt. Man, God, they were desperate for a win. You lose 3 straight, from the Arkansas win to the Vanderbilt win. That was 35 days. Man, it was 5 weeks between wins. They had to get it. One of the things Brian Kelly said afterwards is they simplified the offense for Garrett Nussmeier. In what ways might you have noticed that watching the game on Saturday?
decisiveness. And it was, here's a guy who's got, we know Nuss has got a high football IQ. What happens when you're not going good? And and when you're turning the ball over and you're making decisions that you want and you're squeezing the ball a little harder and your mind's moving faster. The whole object that I try to teach quarterbacks when I'm training them or talking to them or when you're giving a clinic to somebody is, and when I'm training my guys, is to slow the mind down and speed the feet up. What's been going on with LSU is the opposite. The mind is sped up. Everything's helter. You're like chasing a ghost and you're borrowing trouble. And that happens every single quarterback that's ever played, some for longer periods of time, some for short periods of time, have been through when you start to create it and you're thinking, is there 15 guys on defense? What do I got to do? And then you're a veteran. You know the expectations and you got high football IQ. And then you start to try and think like a coach and you get cute and all of a sudden you're overloading and clutter. Nobody wants clutter in their closet. Nobody should want clutter in their life. And you sure as hell don't want clutter as a quarterback. But it's there. And even the one that's when there's an open space, you create the clutter. And so simplifying it, and you really, Maddie, I'm being honest with you now. Let me take you back to when the Cowboys, and I know this for a fact because I've talked to Aikman, and when the 49ers, and it's NFL, but it still bears the truth on what's sometimes going good or bad. And the 49ers, when Walsh was there, and that group, Seifert, they ran, and I've talked to North Turner, mentioned this in the past, they had about 12 plays when they were going good and about 5 or 6 runs. They really, and when I was in Minnesota, we would overload you with formations and window dressing, and we'd script 20 plays or so, and we'd give you 18 different formations to start a game. But we'd give you 7 same plays. We run this one here, everything, boom, to you, it looks like we want to confuse you. We want to make it look complex to you on defense and simplify it for our offense. Not just for the execution for 11 guys, but so the quarterback's decisive ball comes out and we do what we do when we're playing in the street or when we're playing at the park. And I know that sounds so elementary and so simple, but that's what it is. And what happens? Bam, get the first one, get the second one. And now you're becoming what most quarterbacks have to be. Think 6 days a week, react on the 7th, which in college football is usually a Saturday. And so Nussmeier's got all this stuff. And what happens is you start to hear the whispers, and whether we say it or not, they become roars. You know, the Brian Kelly's hearing it, and he's hearing it. Those two guys are always, that's the way it works. So how do you slow it down? Do you add more and then go to the line of scrimmage and here's 3 different checks and a simple outside run? No, we don't want to run uphill, but let's run some call it and run it's. Let's do what we do well, and we'll scheme it formation-wise against that team, running and pass. We don't need a lot. We just need to execute. We got to make it look like a lot. And to me, that's what it looked like to me. For the first time in a minute, that ball came out. Yeah. And Vanderbilt, we know in the past, Vanderbilt, we'd be saying it's Vanderbilt. We're not saying that now. They fly around, they hit, they're confident, their offense, they got some attitude. I mean, they do a lot of good things. And so this was a challenge going in. And there was even people who picked Vanderbilt to win a game. So what happens is then you go out and say, okay, this is what I do. I know how to execute this route combo. And then you just window dress with formations, but you don't need to do much. And so when Norv and when the 49ers and Cowboys were doing it, they were winning all this to everybody else. John Taylor would run the slant one play. Jerry Rice come in motion, run the flat. And Rathman on the naked boot, he'd go to the flat. John Frank, the tight end, would cross, and you'd run the deep over with Rice. And then you'd come out of it and run the dig out of one formation, and Jerry Rice run the post. So you had same thing, Michael Irvin, Alvin Harper, Emmitt Smith, just run different. And they'd run the inside gut play and then the outside zone, and then you'd run toss sweep, and then we'd window dress it, and you'd have a guy cut off the backside on 60 counter, but about 4 or 5. But to you, it looks confusing. To the quarterback, now it's, okay, here's what you do, dude. Remember when you were at your best? Remember when you knew you had to make plays in games like Auburn, and you had to make throws, and you had to come back, and you had to grind? You weren't overthinking. You were reacting. There is nothing worse for a quarterback than, whether it's good or bad, starting to get to the point where you are so overloaded with information that you can't react. And in college football at that level, in SEC football and in the NFL, split seconds, that's too late. That's a tip ball pick. That's a miss the window, because we're talking different speed and different level. Nussmeier knows this. So what it is, and then for him, instead of worrying about, do I get out of this? What if they're disguising all the what ifs? And, as I've said before, if my aunt had balls, she'd be my uncle. So by that point in time, if she becomes your uncle, then you've lost another football game. And so we don't want that. And he took care of his business. And I think, and then what happens is come back, this time against a defense that is nasty. You better not get too cute with it this week, but you better have a lot of window dressing because they made Alabama look pedestrian. And they'll take your best player away, Oklahoma's defense. They just will. So, again, when the quarterback's right, then everybody else gets into it. And the last thing I need, not just Nussmeier, is 11 cats thinking too much. That's why you get into your playbook all week long. And then let's go play football, man. That's what got you a scholarship. Let's go do why we're on scholarship and the reason for it and get back to what we know allowed us to win some football games and get out of. And I'm a big believer in if it ain't working, fix it and change it. Get your ego and pride out of the way that you got to be 75 plays. We all put a library in. We don't need to read every book in the library. And it seemed to me they went Cliff Notes version this week. For the young folks, that's abbreviated, and they executed it. And you know what? Ego gets bigger when you can execute 5, 6, 7, 8 different plays with 20 different formations and make it look different. And if you're Oklahoma, you're looking at saying, well, damn, they didn't do a lot, but they made it look different. And so they're going to have to defend it. This will be an incredible challenge for LSU because this team is Venables defense. They fly, man. They're good.
Why? So a quick follow-up, and then I'll ask you about Oklahoma. But why then would you ever complicate an offense?
Right. Well, it comes back to – and that's a great – why not do this all the time, right, man?
Right, yeah. I mean, if it worked for Bill Walsh –
Right.
Right. The Cowboys.
Why it also works for Bill and Norv and Jimmy Johnson. Let me give you a few names: Rice, Aikman.
Right.
The offensive line, Rathman. Montana wasn't half bad. He did okay.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, you get the talent does help you to simplify because if my guy's just better than you, and let's face facts. As much as I love Vanderbilt, what they do, LSU's got better players. Even though Vanderbilt's been impressive and they're growing, there's better players. So that's fine and dandy. But also when you run into a team, whether it's Alabama or Georgia or Oklahoma, they got the same players you get. They recruited the same guys from the same high school. You got one of them, and they got the other. So there is something where you got to be, look at Andy Reid. And everybody thinks, but Andy still does the simple, throw the slow screen here, a little bubble down at the 5-yard line to Kelsey in the red zone. But they do – how many times a game do you think they tell Kelsey to go bang off the zone and get open? 12, 10
right.
To just find a spot. So simplifying it matters. But there also comes a point when you say, okay, guys study, and they say when they get to this in 3rd and 5, here's what they like to do out of this formation. So, and ego comes into play too, Matty. It just does. You get it and you say, well, look what we did with 10 plays. Well, let's expand it a little bit. And this situation, and then the temptation's there because you say, man, I want to create this curl or this post dig out of a different formation because, man, the middle of the field, they like to play cover 2, and Mike isn't active enough. Whatever it is that you see. So you're right. And you say, well, why wouldn't he? I'll tell you what, I would always err on the side of window dressing, keep it simple, make it look complex, than I would overload me. And then at halftime, we got to go and say, we got too much. Take a third of that away, enough. And then I'd rather build it to where I can grow into the home as opposed to, oh my gosh, the home's too big and I got to shut off 4 rooms. So I get what you're saying. But when you run into a team that's got dogs like you got and they play it like you play it, you better have something to offset it because sometimes when it's me versus you, man on man, I got to create something to get to take you off me and give me a little space. And that's why, and make no mistake about it, we have coordinators in the league and in every league at every level. Guys want to prove that they know more than the other guy. So what do we do by proving more instead of just executing? We want people on the game days and on the NFL shows to say, look how innovative he is. I got news for you. Don Coryell and Sid Gilman and Norm Chow and Lavelle Edwards were doing all this 40 years ago. It's just how you dress it up and the athlete you're using. But everybody thinks they reinvented it. They didn't. It's just how you call it and when you have the guts to call certain stuff and go for it on 4th and 1 and you better have dogs to execute it. They're going to have to expand probably a little bit because Oklahoma's not stupid. But this is a hell of a matchup. If you want to see where your team is, that defense will allow Nussmeier and the rest of them. And once again, I need reaction as opposed to hesitation if they're going to take it to another level.
Yeah. What did Oklahoma do so well that kept Alabama, Sean, out of the end zone for the first time in 20 years.
Yeah,
Incredible.
amazing. It was actually, when you're watching, you say, okay, at some point, when's this going to change? Phenomenal. But Maddie, they've been they're a top 20 wherever Venables goes, and hell, if they had an offense to match, the Oklahoma would be a hell of a football team, and we'd be talking about them. But they defensively, he's a great scheme guy, and he gets people that do it. He did it at Clemson, where he was when he did it at Oklahoma first time around as a coordinator. So I'm going to tell you what they did is what I was saying that LSU needed to do a couple weeks ago against Milroe is you cannot allow him to be two-dimensional. I think he had 15 attempts for like less than 15 yards.
Yeah, it was bad.
Mean, they made him. Now he can throw it. I mean, when he's running it, then you see big play. Then he's a two-dimensional guy. As I said, about 3 weeks ago before, I said, take away his feet first if possible. Now, that's an easier said than done from my living room. I could say it. They got to execute it. And then make him do what he has to do consistently. But when he's able to run it, and now it's 2nd and 2, well, the passing game, you don't have to be a great thrower of the football to execute it because people are running free. You just got to make the ordinary simple play. What they did was they went into this game, and I haven't talked to Venables about it or anybody else. From my vantage point in watching it, they went into this game and said, that guy under center is not beating us. The old Belichick flaw that your best player does not get to beat me. Now, if all of a sudden somebody else rears their head and rushes for $190, or a receiver makes a play, or special teams blocks 2 kicks, then we'll deal with that. He ain't beating us. And that's exactly what happened. And then all of a sudden what you get playing behind the sticks. Now it's 2nd and 12 or 2nd and 3rd and 9. And coordinators don't have a lot of plays for that. And then what he'll do is he'll pressure you, force you to get it out, catch and tackle, and now you're punting. Their game plan was brilliant. They didn't give up a huddle of big plays, but they went in knowing the best player on the field plays quarterback for Alabama. What's his biggest strength? Legs, and then mixing in play action and hitting the deep shot. How do we take that away? Well, we may have to sacrifice something, but in the process of shutting his legs down and completely eliminating his feet from the football game, in turn, they gave up a few yards, but you can live with that. And I've always believed you can throw for 5 million yards. As long as you're playing between the 20s and you're not getting the end zone, and they didn't, I don't care. So I saw our team do that back in 1982. I was starting as a sophomore at SC. We went to Norman. They had never been shut out. Where it'd been like 400 games or whatever it was, and Switzer was the coach, and that was like Marcus Dupree's debut. We beat them. Shut them out. Our defense pitched a shutout, and they had a whole bunch of great players, and nobody done it. It's because we hit the quarterback on the wishbone, and the pitch back, we made him stretch. He never got turned north and south. We ended up shutting them out and beating them in their building. So a lot of similarities. They took the best player away, and they were not willing to let Milroe beat them, and nobody else could.
Yeah, man. Jackson Arnold was 9 of 11 for 68 yards, and they won by 3 touchdowns.
Right, against a guy who's run for 8 billion yards, and unfortunately for some teams have seen the best of him in the worst way if he comes into your building. That's as good as anybody will ever play.
Man,
Jalen Milroe. Now the versatility. Nussmeier's a better thrower of the football, more consistent, and now you're going in, and Venables knows what he's in for. The question is, how are you going to make sure that you get Nussmeier overthinking? And if you're Brian Kelly, don't get out of this mode. Make it simple, because they're going to do everything they can to confuse you and force you into some long-yarded situations this weekend. That's what they specialize in, and they know their offense isn't good enough to beat most good teams right now, so they're going to have to win a lot on defense.
Hopefully we have a great night in Tiger Stadium on Saturday.
That would be awesome. And there's the other one.
Yeah.
Playing there is a brutal task for some, and I think the offense for Oklahoma could be overwhelmed in this game. It's going to be a fun one to watch. I liked what I saw at LSU last week.
He's on Twitter at Sean Unfiltered. Y'all give him a follow. Weekday Sports Talk 7090 there in Houston. Quarterback, coach, guru, tutor. Love to chop it up every week with Sean Salisbury. Thanks as always, man. Happy Thanksgiving.
Honor, brother. Happy Thanksgiving to you, too. I always appreciate coming on, brother. Thank you.
It's our pleasure. Sean Salisbury, good enough to be with us every single Tuesday. Talk a little NFL, a little college. Love telling you about the Williamson Eye Center, 924-2020, 924-2020. Hey, we're moving toward the end of the year. Remember, if you have funds in your FSA account, those expire at the end of the year. They don't roll over. So you have funds in that account. You got to spend them. You can use those toward a refractive procedure. LASIK, EVO, ICL. Maybe you're not a candidate for LASIK, maybe you're a great candidate for Evo ICL. That's the implantable contact lens, which is 100% reversible. Learn more. Just go through what your options are. If you want to ditch the contacts and glasses forever, the Williamson Eye Center can make that happen. Call 924-2020, 924-2020, or go to williamsoneye.com. That's williamsoneye.com. Eye care, eyewear, eye surgery. It's the Williamson Eye Center. 924-2020, williamsoneye.com. All right, we appreciate Sean for being with us. Hey, you missed anything AFR On Demand presented by Brett Golf. Shay Dixon was here in hour one. We had Sarah Barshop with us last hour. She covers the Rams for ESPN.com. West and Whit Weeks were in studio with us. If you missed that fun conversation for a couple of segments, it'll all be on demand. Of course, Sean Salisbury there as well. Everything on demand on your favorite podcast app or on YouTube. Just search After Further Review. Remember, we tell you get your AFR LSU and AFR Saints content. Is if you just want the LSU or Saints content, YouTube or favorite podcast app, just search AFR LSU, AFR Saints. You'll see it there. All right, well, now I got a quick break. Otter Locks here in about a dozen minutes from right now. Otter Locks are already posted, by the way, at louisianasports.net. If you want to get them now to get your plays in, you can. Go to louisianasports.net. Otter Locks are up. It's AFR.
AFR.
Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. Going to keep reminding you here throughout the next few weeks about the Gordon Gives bicycle giveaway. Tell you all the time about Gordon and how he's helped more than 10,000 Louisiana residents who've been injured in an accident, recovering more than $3 billion in damages. But Gordon does an amazing job and is so philanthropic and gives back to all our communities. This is another way that he does it every single year with his Gordon Gives bike giveaway. 488 bicycles. 488 bicycles Gordon is giving away to children around the state of Louisiana for Christmas. If you want to enter to win one of those bicycles for a child, you can go to GordonGives.com. That's GordonGives.com. You'll see the form right there on the homepage, GordonGives.com, and you can enter to win one of those bicycles to brighten up Christmas morning for a child in the state of Louisiana this year. You know what to do. Get Gordon and get it done.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an after-hours emergency. The light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Take it to the barn, put it up for the night. Climb up in the loft, sit and talk with the radio on.
All right, glad you're rolling along with us here. Get the Otter Locks here in just a bit. A bit of disappointing news. Not altogether wildly unexpected, but disappointing. Chris Senack, who's out of New Orleans, Link Academy, one of the top players, basketball players in the country for this coming cycle. He's the number one center in the 2025 class. He committed to Houston today. He becomes the highest ranked recruit in the modern era for Houston, the number 2 class in the country now. So he chose the Cougars over LSU, Auburn, Arkansas, Baylor, Kentucky, Tennessee. LSU was in it to the end. Matt McMahon and his staff, they're a really good job. He's a kid from New Orleans, an in-state kid. And, you know, Louisiana doesn't generally produce that many high-level basketball recruits. So it's one of those things for Louisiana. You have to cast a wide net. You have to go outside of the state. Certainly now use the transfer portal as well. It's why the 06 Final Four team was such an outlier, because not only do you have all those guys from Louisiana, but Glenn Davis and, you know, and Garrett Temple and Tasman, those are kids from the Baton Rouge area. I mean, Daryl Mitchell wasn't from Baton Rouge, from Louisiana. So that's the exception. That's certainly not the rule. So disappointing. And I mean, this is a kid that when you look at the prospects, not only for college recruiting rankings, but you start to look at the draft, he's projected to be a lottery pick in 2026. You know, 6'10" center who had a breakout on the USA basketball, circuit this past offseason. Big 7'4" wingspan, you know, can block shots, protect the rim, and they can also score, face up and score the basket. So, disappointing, no doubt, for Matt McMahon. And there was some thought last night. We were having a conversation here where LSU felt pretty good about it, but when the sun came up today, everything had clearly shifted to Houston, and that's the way it was going to go. So disappointing there, but Matt McMahon and the Tigers will continue to press forward. Basketball Tigers won't be back on the hardwood until Friday. They'll play Northwestern State coming off their really dramatic triple overtime win against UCF on Sunday at the Greenbrier. But as the basketball season rolls along, we'll continue to follow. Tomorrow, the LSU women are back on the floor tomorrow down in the Bahamas after their dramatic buzzer-beating win on Monday afternoon over Washington. All right, we're brought to you by Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Michelli.com. Locations all over the United States, from sea to shining sea. You can always go to Michelli.com. That's Michelli. Michelli.com for Michelli Weighing and Measurement. You can get a list of all the different services that they offer. ISO 17025 accreditation is available, like we always say. If you don't know what that is, you don't need it. If you know what it is, you understand why it's important. It's Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Very happy Thanksgiving from our friends over at Michelli to everybody. I hope you have a great, happy, safe Thanksgiving, a wonderful Thanksgiving. And, of course, if you need precision measurement equipment calibrated, if you need scales for anything, you need Michelli. Michelli.com, Michelli.com. A little bit of a different week today for the New Orleans Saints. This week, as it is Thanksgiving, Darren Rizzi's moved their schedule around this week, so they practice today. We'll have the first injury report tomorrow. The big news from earlier in the day, if you missed it, is that Eric McCoy and Lucas Patrick missed practice for New Orleans on Tuesday. At least they were not there during the media availability for the Saints practice. And very clearly, we all know how the season started to unravel for New Orleans after the explosive start against what we now know to be two pretty bad teams in Carolina and Dallas. But when you played Philly and you lost McCoy in that first offensive series, it caused a domino effect on your offensive line, and your running game went in the pooper. And it's unfortunate, but you were starting to get healthy. McCoy came back probably a little too early and re-aggravated that groin injury that he had surgically repaired. Lucas Patrick injured as well. So now very much up in the air as to whether or not they'll be available. And the Rams' run defense can get got. I mean, they're the fourth lowest run defense in the NFL. You'd love to have the full complement of your offensive line, but it could be a situation where if you don't have McCoy or Patrick available, maybe Shane Lemieux. Remember, you waived Connor McGovern. Maybe Shane Lemieux slides into center. Maybe it's a mix and match there on the offensive line again, like you saw for that month while you were trying to figure out what you were going to be with when Lucas Patrick was out, when Eric McCoy was out, when Cesar Ruiz was out. So the first injury report of the week will come out on Wednesday. So we'll better know the status of those guys heading towards Sunday, but see if we can get them back and get them available for the Rams this weekend. All right, it's after further review. Our Wednesday show, just as a quick heads up, because we're not going to be here Thursday for Thanksgiving and we're not going to work on Black Friday. Traditionally, we've always worked on Black Friday, but we're giving the staff off on Black Friday this year. And so we're kind of combining the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday shows all into one. So we will have our Fantasy Blitz tomorrow. We will talk to Mike Triplett tomorrow. We'll talk to our buddy Eddie Radosevich from Sooner Scoop, who covers the Sooners, tomorrow. So we'll have a lot of Lee Sterling will be with us tomorrow. Russ Mitchell will be with us tomorrow. Still working to see if we can confirm Phil Steele for Wednesday as well. But we're basically going to combine Wednesday, Thursday, Friday shows all tomorrow before we head into a long weekend. So we'll look forward to seeing you here on Wednesday before we get into a long weekend. All right, let me knock out our final break, so we'll stay on time. We'll come back. Jimmy will be here for Otter Locks. Don't you move. It's AFR.
After further review.
Y'all, on Friday, Bobby from River City's 1 Hour Air came over to the Scone household. We did what I encourage you to do every single year, which is to get your standard maintenance, get your seasonal maintenance for your AC and for your heater. Well, this is the time of year where we're talking heater safety check. Of course, mention the show. They'll knock $30 off that heater safety check from River City's 1 Hour Air. You see the big yellow vans and trucks all over town, giant clock on the side. You can't miss them. But I always, always, always encourage you to do this seasonal maintenance. Of course, it's going to make your unit run more efficiently. It'll extend the life of your unit as well, but no different than an oil change for your vehicle. You want your engine to last? Make sure you're doing standard maintenance on your vehicle. Same with your AC. Same with your heater. But also, it's the heater safety check. Make sure your heater is safe to run this winter. It's River City's 1 Hour Air, 752-0001.
Let's talk turkey. Bayou Ford can get you in a new 2024 Ford F-150 with $15,000 off MSRP. $15,000 off America's favorite F-150 truck. All new Bayou automotive vehicles come with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
When you can't rely on technology, you can rely on Mountain Cold Refreshment. Dave's back on. Coors Light. Choose chill.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's
After Further Review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Down the stretch we come. Final segment here on a Tuesday edition of AFR. Powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Visit sunnyquip.com. One thing left to do, find out what we're betting on tonight. Time for Otter Locks.
Otter Locks.
All right, time to win some money.
Presented by Lofton Staffing Services. At Lofton, we put people to work. Call us today at 924-0200 or go to lofton.jobs.
I think it's safe to say that I won the bet.
Otter, how are you?
Good, Matt. A nice result last night with the Baltimore Ravens. So
oh, man.
That was good.
Let's go, man. We are riding a heater, and you're off to a fast start in college basketball as well. So lots of good stuff out there. Man, we got any college football tonight, or is that just?
I like that Missouri State. We survived overtime. So, overtime where dogs go to die, but we still won, covered in overtime by one. So that was still got three plays in college hoops. They got a lot of great stuff. You got the NIL players era going on right now. A&M and Oregon later tonight. Great game with Houston and Alabama. And I think Alabama is one of the strongest rosters in the country. I think Duke and Alabama might have the best rosters. That's including Kansas and some others. But I don't think Alabama's just a finished product yet. I think they got a little ways to go. I think the Cougars are going to grab them in this one. So I'm going to take Houston -4.
All right.
Iowa State blew a 14 or 16-point halftime lead to Auburn. Great game last night. It was kind of off to the side, with the Monday Night Football being on. But Dayton gave North Carolina all they could handle, lost by 2 last night. These tournament games tend to be a little closer. We're going to take the 9.5 again. So Dayton getting 9.5, 2 straight nights, lost by 2. Hopefully they can keep it close against the Cyclones tonight. By the way, I think they will.
DraftKings up to 10 right now with Dayton.
Even better.
Yeah.
Even better. So there you go. Chalk early, dogs late.
Yes, sir.
So, there. And then number one team is underdog, right? Yes, they are. That team that I just talked about, the Duke Blue Devils. I'm not one to usually back Duke. I think it's always a little inflated line, but I am on the Blue Devils tonight. I love their team. Still trying to figure out how Kentucky beat them. Man, that SEC is tough, but Duke -3, that closes out our 3 games in college basketball.
Otter, real quick, I'm looking at 3.5 now. Are we buying the half a point inside of 8?
Not yet, Matt, because we're waiting until like January when the lines get tighter and these things start falling closer to the number.
All right, so we're comfortable laying 3.5.
Yeah, they're still. I would buy the 3 on that short number. I would buy the 3.
Dang it! I just locked in 3.5. So what should I do?
Well, cash out and bet it again.
All right.
It should give you a full refund on a cash out. The NBA we gave out on our podcast gave out the Rockets to win their group. They win tonight on the road against Minnesota. They will do it. I love this young roster. They're deep. They're into this tournament. They're catching 3.5 on the road against Minnesota tonight. We're going to go. We've been riding the Rockets. Why stop now?
All right. Rockets +3.5. Actually looking at 3 right now over at DraftKings. So see if you can find the half somewhere. So Houston, Dayton, and Duke in college basketball, and the Houston Rockets in the NBA. Anything else we're looking at tonight?
Midweek action. We're going to try and cash in one more time against the lowest power-rated value. My buddy Chris Andrews, 45-year bookmaking betting line.
Let's go, Kent State.
Las Vegas. We're taking the Buffalo Bulls minus the 23.5 against the Kent State Flash. So, and then, but we are going to take Akron. Akron is going to be a little bit of a punchline, but we talked about it last week. We cashed. Toledo has been overvalued because Toledo's really good usually. They're not this year. They're just another team in the MAC this year. I'm going to go with Akron plus the 9 at home, and that bundle a chance to fade Toledo as well.
And we got 6 games on the board. Houston, Dayton, Duke in college basketball, the Houston Rockets in the NBA, and some action. Buffalo laying 23.5 and Akron plus 9 because, of course, we are. All right, Otter, where are you tomorrow?
Well, I think one of our
1 minute
contributors
remaining
on X or Twitter, Stephen Miller, I think he's got the Flyers, Dayton plus 95.
Plus 95. I saw it. Plus 95. Hunt forgot the decimal point. Plus 9.5. Hunt is the one that posts Otter Locks at LouisianaSports.net.
I said it properly, but I'll take credit for the Otter tweet.
It was not Otter who posted it. I am fully laying the blame at Hunt's feet. All right, thanks, Otter. We appreciate it, man.
Hunt's doing the good work. We'll take it. We're at the original walk-on, getting ready for Thanksgiving tomorrow.
Sounds great. Thanks, Otter. Otter and
Good
Handy.
luck.
Thank you, man. Otter and Handy tomorrow, every day from Live at Lunch on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge from 11 to 1, of course, on YouTube as well. All right, that'll do it for us here. We will be here tomorrow. No show Thursday, Friday for Thanksgiving and Black Friday. So we'll wrap up a short week tomorrow. We'll look forward to seeing you then. Use Paulie, thanks. Y'all have an awesome night. We'll see you tomorrow at 3.
After further review.
Brought to you by First South Farm Credit, firstsouthland.com, firstsouthland.com. If you're thinking of buying land, make sure your first call is to First South Farm Credit. Go to firstsouthland.com. Maybe you're thinking about that recreational property, that hunting property, tired of sharing a lease with your buddies. firstsouthland.com. They can help you buy that recreational property. And remember, not just in Louisiana. First South Farm Credit has more than 40 branches in Louisiana and Mississippi and Alabama, so they can help you buy land in any of the contiguous 48. So you want to buy a hunting property in Mississippi, you want to buy 10 acres in Covington, you want to buy a dude ranch in Montana, they can help you do it at First South Farm Credit. So go to firstsouthland.com. That's firstsouthland.com. When it comes to agriculture, when it comes to land, your first call should be to First South Farm Credit. Again, online at firstsouthland.com. That's firstsouthland.com.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
At Atmos Energy, our Smart Choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances, smart thermostats, and weatherization upgrades. Together, we're fueling our energy future.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram can get you in a new 2025 Ram 1500 truck with $15,000 off MSRP. $15,000 off the newly designed Ram 1500 truck. All new Bayou Automotive vehicles come with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.